Oh man, it is Saturday afternoon, night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is to you. Welcome into this edition of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. I'm gonna be your host, along with some other fabulous people. Colin, of course. Joining me as always is my boy, all the way across the sea. It's my man, Boggs AB.
I do prefer across the pond, actually.
Oh.
But yes, I am. I'm good. Good to be here. Packed show today, of course. We're reacting to the free agency special. We've got a guest or two on. So yeah, should be a fun show. Can't wait to get into things. And yes, pleasure to be here as per usual.
And of course, now one of my favorite folks on the interwebs in general, just always bringing a bit of sunshine. It's Soul. How are you?
Hello. Today I worked in the garden and we had peppers that were ready, so that's a pretty exciting time for me right now. And I'm ready to talk about this draft, some of the big surprises that we saw in this draft, little teaser there. And so yeah, let's get right into it. It was a fun time yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was a good time. It was a bit tedious, I would say, to get through. It was a bit I mean, it's a bit repetitive after a while. You kind of felt like you knew what was going to happen in terms of, the in-betweens. But beforehand, Mr. Christian Harloff dropped off some news. And that news was a little Patreon update displaying some different tiers where $20 and ups are now going to get the option to come in and ask questions during pay-per-views. $10 and up are now going to get like a meet and greet type thing once a month where you can come in and ask questions and player commentary matches as well. So that's some fun stuff coming from there. And I thought this was fun. I've been wanting something like this in the Schmoedown for a long time. A prize pool that is fan funded. So for this season, a portion of each purchase you make towards some Schmoedown merch is going to end up going towards the final pool that will go to the top 2 factions at the end of the season. So what was your first reaction to this?
I just seeing that the Patreon is getting so much bigger, that there's so much more. First off, we're going to have so much more matches this year. Season 8 War. This is super exciting. And the fact, too, that there's some monetary gain for your factions. You really have time to pick factions. Because I know, like, for me, I'm swag, drip, ride or die till the day I die. Like, that's my team, that's my squad. But I know a lot of people, when they follow the Schmoedown, they're really more for the players and not for the team. And I think this year we're going to see even more people being for a team and picking a team and those being their number one team to go for.
Yeah, and that to me is what kind of made last season more gripping, because I did fall off at the end of season 6 and I had some catching up to do. Just I was in school and stuff was getting busy, and Schmoedown just kind of kicked it to the curb for a couple months. But then I caught up for the new season after I saw there was a draft and everything, and that's what got me excited because I'm a sports guy, obviously, and that like makes everything more exciting. Boggs, how did you enjoy the whole format of last night in terms of everybody coming in and kind of getting a chance to make a kind of it was weird. I didn't know what to make of last night. Everybody coming in, you didn't know if they were going to stay, if they were going to go. What did you think?
Yeah, beforehand, for some reason, I thought it would be the managers coming in.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, they didn't tell us before.
Like, why would Kaiser not come on?
I was like, what's Robert Parker doing here? Like, yeah, first thing, looking very, dapper and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. The first probably half was a little slower than like in terms of the flow of everything, because they were all kind of predictable. Like Ayama, obviously Parker. Who else do we have early? Andreyko. They were all like, yeah, okay, let's get to the good stuff. But yeah, overall quite liked it. Nice to see everyone coming in for their brief cameos and stuff. But yes, the kind of twist and turns definitely came later. But yeah, overall it was the format was fine. Yeah.
And this to me is just kind of, gonna be the cycle of this season's, I'm down with it. This is a great thing to start back up with, especially after the awards. Yeah, if you're gonna do 7 picks in a row without somebody switching, I don't need the bait and switch. I don't need like 5 people being like, of course, like Mark Andreyko. I was like, yeah, Mark Andreyko's leaving. Okay, yeah, like Jeff Snyder too. There was a bit of like, every time it was like, oh, we've heard some chatter. It's like, well, okay, what was the chatter? Are we going to discuss the chatter? Because the NBA, they break down the chatter. You hear all the rumors and stuff. So we're gonna have to see, like, as this advances, like how sporty will it get, and how tight-lipped will things stay. It'll be interesting to see going forward. Biggest surprises aside from the Jaws-sized shark in the room. So, what was your biggest surprise from last night?
So yeah, but besides from that reveal, what broke my heart, and I guess it wasn't as big as a surprise, but it broke my heart, was that Liz Shannon Miller is no longer going to be a part of SWAG. She's going to the usual suspects. And what's weird too, until McQueenie decided, which we knew he was going to go to the usual suspects as well. But I was like, okay, who's going to partner with Ethan? Is it going to be McQueenie? Is it going to be Liz? Because Ethan Irwin brought Liz into the league and told the league that Liz knows more than him. So now I'm like, who is the partner? Who is it going to be? But yeah, that broke my heart because I just loved seeing her and Winston together. She had the knowledge. Winston was bringing in all the performance with it, and that both of them working so well together and being such a good part of SWAG, like that's going to be a little sad for me.
It was either that or she was going to move to her new faction, Hats and Cats. That is going to be, she can start that up at any time. Boggs, over to you. I know, yeah, there's a big elephant in the room, but other than that, what to you was like, oh, didn't see that coming?
Okay, so the biggest surprise for me was the JT thing. I was like, what? So, when I hear that music, I'm just watching it. I'm like, oh, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, there's a certain level of excitement that he brings. And then you kind of expect Snyder to come straight after him for some reason, like straight after him. But yeah, definitely enjoyed JT popping up. I thought that was a great choice as well, having him there. Yes, like from your team. Obviously, we'll get into each team, but yes, definitely a great call. Yeah, and Drew McQueenie was a nice surprise hearing the Godfather theme. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just obviously the dungeon had a couple of twists and stuff, but and then we have the whole Marisol thing. But yes, definitely JTE coming back. Just yeah, I don't know. There's just a certain dynamic energy the guy's got. I know it's a bit weird, but yes, they definitely he brings excitement and a bit of hype with him. So yeah, it's good to see him back.
And Leo here kind of has the same idea that I did. That my surprise is that Paul Preston willing to stay with Kate in the den after the season, after Tom deciding to sit out this season, his partner from last year. Interesting to see that he would like to, tough it out with Kate. And that's a lot of people saw some passion from Kate yesterday, even though I don't think the den mother herself made an actual appearance on the free agency special or the rundown that followed right after. Her presence was definitely felt because before we get into how everybody fell, to each team, let's break down the trade. I feel like it's probably a good thing to start off with as well. At the end of all this, we had the den getting the free agency steal. I didn't even know that this was going to happen. Or I didn't even know that Marisol was even a free agent. I thought she was going to be just in the draft. I didn't know that she was going to have the option to be a free agent. I honestly wasn't really clear on the qualifications of who qualified to be a free agent as opposed to being, a draftee. It was all very confusing. But it seemed that the den reached out, grabbed Marisol, a bit of collusion here. I will say this is a bit colluding, where they say, you choose this player for me, and I'll give you these picks. And that's exactly what Corruption and the Den did. Marisol McKee headed back to corruption for a first-round pick and a second-round pick. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. I think that this is going to work out perfectly, and I'm a big fan of this trade for the Den. There are some heavy hitters in the first 15 players. Boggs, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you're looking at the Den, I'll construct it for you, then you fill in the blanks, all right? I got Paul. I got the Bandit. And then who? Who's a good fit on this team to fill out a roster?
Well, I don't know, because she's got, in effect, 3 first-round picks. So, like, who's the one that she's going to have? I mean, she's literally, even if she does pick the one, she's only got to do that for a few days. Like, she's got, next week she can have the 3 picks in the first round. Well, 2 in the first round, 1 first pick in the second round. So, yeah, overall, I think it's a good deal over one player who's 1-1, or that she got great potential. But yes, definitely, I would have done that. I think I would have done, if that was offered to me, I think I would have done the same. But at the same time, corruption, obviously, they wanted her. So it seems like a good deal for both parties. And although you think now that corruption are not going to have a pick to the end of the second round, that's a lot of players that they're missing. But they've got their main squad who got their points last year. Now, I'm guessing they're just kind of waiting for Laura Kelly, basically. And then the rest will be obviously their kind of experimental or their kind of rotation players, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know the next player. I don't know 100% who it will be or any idea. So, we were discussing beforehand from the 8 players that will go in the first round and the 9th player. So they're going to have 3 players out of them 9 picks. So, yeah, they're kind of a bit sport for choice who they're going to have. So, yeah, good position to be in for me. So shout out to Matt in the chat as well.
Yeah, and Leo Logan coming in saying a number of people, including Roxy and the Barbarian, criticized Kate for making that trade. Well, that's, cool. I get that. And yeah. I'm not one of those folks that's out there criticizing. I like the trade. I think if you're looking at this from a big, like, yeah, exactly. I think Matt kind of puts it into perspective right here. For the first 14 players, my God. Yeah, like that's building a squad for next season. And with the Den not committing any of their players on the roster right now to any championship matches, this just opens up the possibilities for this team to just get a bunch of players that are actually gonna play.
What we saw from Spectacular too is that Shannon said, don't anyone go after Marisol McKee because she's mine and I want her on my team. So I was not surprised at all when they were like, oh, we got a big trade. And I was like, oh, Marisol, she got her girl back. And I think this was such a smart move for Kate because she is getting basically 3 first-round picks, because that first pick in the second round is just basically another first-round pick for her. And she's going to, like, builds a great squad. She said last year she's coming back with a vengeance. She thought people who were criticizing her for not taking it seriously enough. People didn't like the Chicago accent, and she goes, okay, I'm done with that. I got rid of Grace Hancock. I got rid of my accent. I'm fully invested in this, and I think she's got some tricks up her sleeve, and I can't wait to see what she does with it.
You muted, Colin, I think.
Sorry.
I was as well for some reason.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, everybody's going to come out of last night really talking about the dungeon. And for me, it's the Den. I'm coming out of last. That's my first thing. I mean, I'm always about the team that's traded. I mean, I'm a Ravens fan. We're known in the NFL draft to trade back. Trade back, get your picks, stock up. Makes, like, it really makes sense to me that, like, this would really be a great way to build a foundation instead of around, like, one player. Marisol would have had a lot of playing time for the Den this season, and I think she's going to have just as much playing time if corruption goes through, the team corruption, not the faction corruption. If they get, mixed up in championship bouts, they're going to be waiting around for some games next season. And it'd be nice to have a team like Deception coming up, from the up and up, trying to make a name. Let's see. Tachyon coming in with a comment saying it's not really the first 14. It's 4 of the 14 plus all the protected free agents. A lot of talent is already snapped up by other factions, but there's still a lot of talent that has not been snatched up. You got some Star Wars talent out there. You got some IG talent out there. It's gonna be a crazy show next Friday. We got a lot of stuff coming around, and like, I think if you could add, I think if you're Kaiser in the dungeon, you gotta be looking at somebody like Andrew DiMolonto with the #1 pick, maybe. I mean, or Ace with the #1 pick. You don't know who's. I mean, this whole league could shake up in a second. It's gonna start getting really, really exciting. Well, let's get into it. The news of the night: the dungeon making waves like we have never seen before. We have half an image, and we have a whole. Oh, we will be back with the image in one moment. But Kaiser, friend of the show, coming in with one of the wildest free agent signings I have ever seen. 2 of them. DanMerle coming off first. Boggs, your initial reaction just to DanMerle, because that was the first wave.
My initial reaction was, Kaiser, you sneaky son of a, you wheeler dealer, you. Yes, love that. Completely unexpected. I did think, clearly he wasn't going back to Finstock Exchange. But I was kind of looking at the spaces and who was left. I presumed it was maybe the usual suspects, something along them lines, obviously with Ethan and Sam. But yeah, kind of right-hand turn there to the dungeon. So, big, big task for Kaiser to manage the best player and stuff. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting, going from, being with his fellow best player of all time on paper, the best faction, going to, the lowest faction in the standing tables anyway. But yeah, definitely happy for Kaiser, like I said, friend of the show. So, yes, he's got a lot of, he needs to, he's got a job to do, definitely with Dan, and obviously the other pick which we'll talk about, and also the rest of the players that he'll draft as well. So yes, big shock, but a good one.
The energy is there, and it's palpable. It's a creating this true dungeon of, like, now you got some characters in here, not just some characters, you got some players in here.
And not only that, I just remembered, sorry, that, I think we spoke about it before with him when he was on that, like, I personally think he's underrated especially an in-game manager. Obviously, kind of not last season, one before, he was manager with Yama and Smets. But last season, I said it to his face, like, the amount of times in-game matches where players weren't listening to him, especially in the second round, where he was giving them guidance and advice about what to stick on, what not to do, and they continuously were not listening, and he was kind of losing then, or the factions were losing. Obviously, he got kind of wins sporadically throughout the season, but the amount of times players were not listening to him. So now, we literally said to him, draft players who will listen, and obviously he's drafted 2 killers here that will definitely listen. So yes, very happy for the guy, and hopefully bigger and better things for the dungeon.
Over to Seoul, suddenly Robert Parker is not the big man on campus anymore.
And I'm sure Robert Parker is perfectly fine with it. He's like, I'll do my magic tricks over here. You guys get us some extra points here. And when I was listening to Dan's speech, he was the one that when he came up, I was like, I don't know where he's going. I don't have a guess. All I know is he's not going to the exchange. Other than that, I don't have a guess where he's going. And a lot of people were saying usual suspects, and for some reason I had a feeling, I was like, I don't think he's going there, but he might. And so I was trying to listen to context clues. So when he said I was like, okay, so he's not going to Roxy, he's not going to the den. And then I heard Revenge, and I was like, oh, he's going to the dungeon. I know it. And then he said dungeon, and I was like, whoa, what? And that was literally my reaction watching it. And because I could see Bateman being in the dungeon, because they've talked about it on Action Industries about like how much of a good relationship they have with Kaiser, and like they would joke about it when it was like Smets, Andrew Guy, and Bateman. They were like, wouldn't this be a great team for you, Kaiser? Like, have the 3 of us on your faction. So Ben Bateman didn't like. I was like, okay, this makes sense for him going to dungeon, but Dan, I couldn't even picture it in my head, him being in the dungeon, but he said he's going for revenge this year. He's getting a little heelish, and I love it. And so I think the dungeon is going to be a good place for him this year if that's what his main goal.
Yeah, he's the right mouthpiece for it.
As soon as he said revenge, I knew he was teaming with Ben. And that takes us to Ben, the boss, Bateman, also going to the dungeon. This is awesome. This is going to be one of the wildest seasons in terms of shakeups since, I would say, corruption, the whole tournament, anarchy, the whole thing. This to me is so much fun now with flipping this. We got some real storylines coming in here. People who do not care for one another right now. And Boggs, Ben Bateman is coming in with a vengeance. But he is teaming up with the guy that he just lost to. So we do have to address that fact. Do we think any differently here that this is someone teaming up with what he can't beat?
Yes, I think, and I know there is a kind of notion where people would say, "Oh, you know, why is he kind of going with Morel? You know, you can't beat him. Like, why are you team?" I think it's a fantastic decision. I'll tell you why. So, first of all, if you can't beat him, join him. Secondly, you see it so many times in, like, you know, I'm a big boxing fan. You see it where people have a rivalry all the time. When they fight each other, sometimes they have like a trilogy of fights, whatever, and then later on in someone's career, they join up. Or like someone, when one of them retires, one of them will be their trainer, or one of them will be kind of their sparring partner, or be a part of their camp or their promotional team. It happens all the time. It's a part of growth. It's a smart decision with Ben teaming up directly with Morel and not having the Barbarian and Roker there and kind of mixing the team. Or getting kind of egos getting in the way. He's got less egos to deal with. So he's got obviously Kaiser as a mouthpiece and, you know, as an overall coach. And his sparring partner is one-on-one then. It's not like you're in a team of 4, including Riley as well, 5 in effect. So there's too much there. He's narrowed it down. Very, very good gameplay to separate yourself, but still keep with kind of with good players, or especially with Dan. So yes, fantastic decision, I think. So from Ben. So yes, I'm very interested, and yeah, they seem to be targeting the Finstock Exchange. So good rivalry there, and obviously Dagnino and Kaiser going head to head as well. So yes, the two exciting things that are going on. So the players and management's clashing. So love that.
Setting it up. I love a good setup.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good story. I love it when it works. And this is going to be one of those seasons where everything kind of comes together. And Robert Parker, I'll give you the pass, man. Last season you just ran into Chance, and Chance was on a roll. And I wish we could have seen you play again. You definitely would have gotten some matches in studio in the second half of the season if it weren't for this god-awful pandemic. So don't worry about that, man. Head up. Look, he knows. You know, that Kaiser knows. So, I mean, this is really going to be a team to be reckoned with. Tachyon again coming in the chat. Anyone surprised Riley wasn't a protected player? He earned a lot of points last season. Yeah, he did. Riley was in there battling it out in the singles division. He's going to be a look at number 1 as well. I mean, Kaiser's got the number 1 pick, right? So
yeah, you would think he would go in the first or second round, but I'm not really surprised he would have got picked, because at this point he is, no disrespect to the guy, but he's a little bit of a risk to go in the free agency, just to his overall kind of win and loss ratio. In fact, that's not totally fair, because obviously he did get a lot of points, but against top level elite players, how far is he gonna go? That kind of thing. So I think it's fair to draft him, not to kind of put him in the free agency stuff. Not top 3, but you know, first or second round, he'll definitely get taken.
I can see him going to the Den and the Den picking him up. And because I know a lot of people were calling him overrated last year. And so he's probably going to hold that with him going into the season. And I can see Kate using that to fuel him. And we might see a new Riley this year because people were underestimating him last year.
ASG saying risk. Finstock signed JTE. Hey, JTE, when he's in his prime, is one of the most consistent players in the game.
That's called a gamble. It's called a gamble.
Yeah, that's a risk.
We know where Riley's at. We don't know where JT's at. It might go well. It might go, you know.
JT's been chilling. All right. There's something to be said about having time to just chill, watch some flicks, and get better. Going back, watching those old matches, filling in that headcanon for him. getting a bit better. Let's move on to the next team, and I can just throw one. Who Boggs? Who you want to talk about?
Let's go swag.
Let's go swag. Drip. Ooh, we know that this. Well, oh, there he is coming in, sort of, almost all the way. Maybe. Hope. Hold on, we got some technical difficulties in the back. Nope. What? How are you doing?
It looked like Chandru Merle, and I was like, "Oh, that would be dangerous."
I don't even know how this is happening in the back.
we did it.
Look, Ma, no hands. It's still there.
It don't matter. Listen, yeah.
It
So
don't
my
matter.
opinion.
We got Chandru, we got Paul Oyama, and we got Lon Harris. I'm in on this too from beginning to end. Like, this team is still good. This not just good. This team is still great. This team is contending for. It's still there in the corner. This team is contending for titles week after week after week after week, year after year. I think if you kept the three of these dudes together, they would do nothing but get better and better. Soul, I'm throwing it to you. Final exam is sticking together. How about
Love
them
it.
apples? Do you like apples? Well, how about them apples?
I absolutely love it. And you have Winston, who spoke about, like, one of the reasons he started watching the Schmoedown was because of Lon Harris and his professor stuff. I think his delinquent stuff is some of the most hilarious, like, character work in the Schmoedown. I love Paul and Lon together. I love Final Exam is staying together. I was completely wrong with maybe he might choose Liz, because, like, in my head I was like, I wanted Liz to stay on, but we know that didn't happen. So this is just great. I love Paul and Lon together. And then obviously he was going to keep Chandru. Chandru is a player manager for Swag. Not only has he helped the other IG stuff, people looking at IG, but he has helped out, like, singles and teams as well. He's there doing the gameplay, doing the strategy for all of Swag, and helping Winston out. So no surprise there that these three are still part of Swag.
And Boggs, like, tell me if I'm wrong here. Like, Final Exam is a top tier team. This is still, like, if you're looking at teams that right now could win a championship match, this is one of the 5.
Yeah, to be fair, I was a little surprised here. This was another surprise that I forgot to mention at the start of the show, but obviously not Oyama. You know, he's a killer. Obviously triple threat. Chandru, for me, I'm putting it out there now. For me, he's the best IG player of all time. I said what I said. But anyway, and the next one was, the last pick was a surprise. So I'm thinking, I thought it was between...
Boggs' thoughts are his own and do not represent the thoughts of all hosts on the Ultimate Schmoedown Show.
So yeah, that's coming anyway. I think he'll start to prove that next month. But anyway, I thought the pick will be between Ace and Liz, and then I thought Lon would be kind of his third choice. But obviously, you know, Liz went in a different direction, and you know, he didn't keep Ace. But overall, kind of in hindsight, I'm not surprised, because you can't really keep a Star Wars player. The amount of talent and players they have to pick from this season, you can't really keep a Star Wars player in the top 3. So yes, it ended up being the third option. Was a little surprise there, but yeah. So I'm assuming Liz would want to leave, or Liz asked to leave, because I didn't really know why he would pick Lon over Liz. Although he did have Final Exam, but Oyama was hesitating to pick Lon, or it was indicating
Paul's
that
going for a singles belt, right? Like, no reason to think that Paul's not going for a belt. And then at the same time, there's no reason to think that Liz, after her performance last season, does not also deserve to have the same opportunity to go for that belt. Which is unfortunate, because, like, I try to think it's easier to look at this for me in terms of, like, fantasy football, where it's like I have a QB1 and then I have a running back 1 and a running back 2, right? Where you got, okay, like, where do all these players stack up, right? I think Paul is without a doubt like a level 1, a top tier singles player, which then makes him a top tier teams player. I think Liz is like a 1.5. She's a tweener, right between a 1 and a 2, where if you let Liz go, she could go all the way to the end of the line and win the whole thing. She's just got to get more matches under her feet. And I think if you gave her a solid teams partner that really fed off for her, well, which I think Paul Oyama could have done. I think Paul Oyama could play with a box of chickens, and he could do well. So like you could pair him with anyone, and he could play movie trivia. So he plays with Lon Harris. Come on, what are you talking about? He plays with Lon Harris. This guy, he's crazy. He just doesn't even know where he is half the time. And these guys are like this close. So it seems to be that like Winston really just has to figure out how to get the most out of Lon. I think that's the biggest thing out of last night that I noticed. So Boggs, if you're Winston, like, how are you? Are you just gonna let Lon be Lon, or are you gonna be like, nah, man, it's time to play here. Like, it's time to play this game.
I don't know. I think kind of Lon's. I don't know. I guess let Lon be Lon, if like to use your words. But yeah, I don't know. He's kind of. I think he's kind of peaked in a way. Like, how good is Lon going to be? Like, I can't see him winning the title. I think he's a better teams player than he is a singles player. So he's kind of. I think it was the next best option after Liz. I'm assuming Liz wanted to be with Ethan, or they wanted to kind of do that as a team thing. So I'm assuming that she requested to leave, and then then it was between kind of Lon and Ace, and he's gone for Lon because obviously there's 12 great Star Wars players that you can pick. So I'm assuming that was like a calculated decision. So and to kind of keep the final exam thing together. So yeah, I don't know. I personally think that he kept Lon for the final exam reason. That was, and then hopefully you can do better in singles.
And it looks to me like I kind of think of this. Lon could have been Mark Riley. That's a possibility. You could have paired a champ and a champ. Mark Riley and Paul Oyama is seriously frightening. Like, if I like to be honest, like those two together on a team with Winston as their manager would be absolutely out of control. That would be insane. They both have leather jackets. Duh, already. Winston also likes jackets. So obviously, Soul, I'm on the right track.
So we all need to get jackets now? Is that what I'm hearing?
I have a whole closet full of jackets.
Anyway, should we go rock stars next?
The stars, Boggs.
Oh, sorry.
But
Stars.
going on one.
I've watched so many people do that, and I think, why are you doing that? It's the stars now. Stop
It's so easy to not do it, and then you do it.
But one last thing, like with Lon, is I see Lon kind of like a Alonso Duralde or a Whitney Seibold, who are super knowledgeable, know a lot about movie trivia, better teams player than a singles player. And I think him and Paul just mesh so well. And I think him and Winston mesh so well. That character work has just been phenomenal to watch last season. So I'm glad that we're still having that this season.
Yeah, I don't know who else I would have wanted to see Lon with, so I'm with you there. That kind of overrides it. I don't think I want to see Lon anywhere else. Yeah, so we'll move on from swag, and we'll get our initial reactions to the now named The Stars. What a great, kind of predictable night from The Stars. The Stars seem to have, one of those nights where kind of is what it is. You got to take the champs. You got champs, so you take your champs.
Yeah, this is a full belt-studded, star-studded, gold-studded group right here. You got all three of them have belts, and Alex being the only Star Wars pick in the free agency obviously makes sense. He has the belt. He's Alex Damon. But yeah, there's no surprise here because of course she was going to go with these three. And of course these three were going to stay with Roxy, especially with Jeff and Mark. Like, they were praising Roxy so much last year and saying that they could not be the team that they were without Roxy. So why would they choose to go to anyone else? And then Alex put it because he didn't think he was going to be picked that high last year in the draft. And the fact that Roxy took a chance on him, even though he is Alex Damon, but he is a Star Wars player. And Roxy helped him also with IG, and he did a good run in IG last year as well. Why not go with Roxy? Why not stay where you're comfortable?
Yeah, Boggs, you want to back me up here? I think I started the Alex Damon is the IG champion fan club like pretty early on last year. I was like riding that boat like really hard. I was like, he could win this whole tournament. Don't let it surprise you, folks. And it's more of a mentality thing. Like, I'm still in the mindset He could play singles if he wanted to. He just doesn't like the movies. So
Maybe.
He doesn't watch the movies. Like, he can't help it.
Yeah. He's got gaps there in IG, so I think
No,
Callum
right. But it's his mentality that I was obsessed with
And I
last
mean-
year. It's his obsessiveness that you just like you cannot replicate that kind of ability to like. He does. He's like, I love Star Trek. He said that before. He's like, I just don't obsess over it like I do Star Wars
And Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Like, who knew that he was that good at Middle Earth? Like,
I'm less surprised, because Star Wars, it's kind of a thing, and you're kind of if you're a nerd, you kind of do just like absorb Lord of the Rings at a certain age. Was it too surprised? But when he started wailing on it in the tournament, you're like, okay, son, all right, I see it, and it kind of adds. If you played again, it'd probably be a strength, right?
yeah,
Why not?
Those are his two strengths right there: is Star Wars and Middle Earth. And who knows if the rest of the board will become his strength, because we know how good Alex Damon is, and we know how much he studies for Star Wars in particular, and also for something outside of the movie trivia Schmoedown, the Dragon Con, with the amount of studying that has to go in there to not only make it into that tournament, but to play in that tournament. And so I think that a lot of his quote unquote weaknesses are going to be his strength this coming year. And we might see the first double belted Star Wars and IG person calling it here first.
Wait, no, I called it last year, so you're going to call it here again. You can have it this year. You have first claim to the moon when we get there eventually. Boggs, any final thoughts on the stars?
No, just straightforward picks for them. All champs. So yeah, it's she's on the right thing, sure thing, and they won't fool in nobody with your I'm gonna go with be quiet. You'll go with Roxy. Yeah, next. Let's go next.
So I think next we should probably run over to the Den. I would like to talk about the Den. I think there's a lot to talk about there. Kate is taking a different angle this season. This is something that we have not seen in the movie trivia Schmoedown ever, because we haven't had opportunities like this before. But here comes a rebuild. Like, this is a full-on, like, NBA, NFL, like, unintentional but intentional tanking, because you had kind of the opposites, where you had Team A is the team who now has more draft capital but was not good last season. And then you have Team B, who was not good last season but now has two of the best players of all time. So you really have, I've never really seen shakeup like this in a league before, sports, whatever, where the bottom really has an opportunity to get a lot better really quickly. And this, to me, and we talked about the Marisol trade before, so this leaves an open free agent spot. Like, there could be somebody, she could sign somebody in the middle of this show. So it has until probably Friday before the draft to lock in that free agent. Or
Wasn't it 24 hours?
They were 24 hours. So there's so it'll be tonight. So we'll know 24 hours by the end of, hopefully, of this show. We'll know. So producer Sean in the booth, please keep a tabs on that movie trivia Schmoedown Facebook group and see if any news occurs while we're there. And of course, we got the lovely comment section that is usually more on top of things than we are. But Soul, over to so ASG. I think this is what I was thinking last night. ASG coming in saying she can't sign another player. She signed Marisol. So Marisol counts as one of her signed players and then turns into those two draft picks. So that makes sense, and it'll actually even out when you think about the picks, right? It'll even out because then she kind of becomes one of those extra picks, because it was a pick swap. One of the picks was a pick swap where they sent a pick over to corruption as well. So it wasn't an uneven amount of picks. So that makes more sense. Paul Preston and Ben Goddard, I think, a really underrated squad. I think Paul Preston is pissed this year, Soul. I think this is a guy who, he knows it's not Kate's fault. There was just some stuff that went weirdly. You think that I think he's got a shot. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, I agree. Paul Preston is a really good player. There was so much talk about him at the beginning of last year, and then he did what unfortunately happens to a lot of people in all types of sports. They have a bad year. And then it doesn't help, too, that COVID happened, and so he didn't have as many opportunities as he probably would have been able to have this year. And so he still, even like in his defeats, he didn't play bad. He played pretty well. It's just that you win some, you lose some, and this year he lost this past year. And so with him, the surprise last year was really more Ben Goddard, because I didn't really think anything of him as a player because he was untested yet. And so what he did with what were they called? What was his team called? It's blanking my head right now. But the team that he had with Silverstreeny, Rachel, because they did pretty well last year as well.
Pride,
So
right?
the Pride, there we go. And so you have these two guys who are, I wouldn't put them at A, although Paul, he could get to A tier. He could get there if he has a really good year. But these are two high beat level players that can play really well, that with one of them with the possibility of being an A tier, and you got, I think this is just a rebuild year, and you see that in sports all the time, because if LeBron leaves your city, what are you going to do? Who are
Stinging
you
some
gonna
Cleveland
pick up?
fans in the chat, and that Cleveland fan is calling me out saying, Colin, there was no pick swap. All they sent was Marisol, and that's it. So that's the Den stocking up on those picks. So the Den's just going to be fully loaded, which this is going to be crazy. Like, I'm really, I guess I'm higher on this pool of players than most people are. This is going to be a weird season. I get that a lot of points, scored by corruption last season came from, corruption, the team proper, but Adam Collins was a free agent signing, right? Like, this is, he got a lot of their points last season, including the horror free-for-all. Say that 12 times fast. And this is all over. Like, this is crazy. Oh, ASG putting in a little thing in the chat saying, if you had the third overall and DeMolanta and Nopik are 1 and 2, who do you take? Boggs, I'll throw it over to you.
So I don't 100% understand the question.
If you have the third pick in the draft, DeMolanta's gone and Mara Kanopik are gone, who's your pick?
God. For the Den or just generally, I mean, I'd need a list to see.
For me, it's got to be somebody. Like Mark Riley. It's got to be somebody that can come in and play on a. That's the first one top of your head. Let's go. I think it's got to be somebody like Mark Riley then, right? Like, it's got to be somebody that can come in, play with the team, play in singles. Obviously, has experience in both. And this to me is just like.
You know what? I'd go Ace because he's hungry this year. So, he's hungry for inner geekdom. He's got points to prove, and I like players like that come in with a bit of fight, a bit of spirit. As opposed to, some other players who are just doing it for fun or just doing it for, to see if I can maybe win, or there's a desire there that other players don't have. So I'd go for Ace. Yeah.
I think Ace though would demand a trade. I don't think Ace wants to work with anyone other than Winston, just the way that they worked last year.
Maybe.
So let's see. I'm looking at this list. I'm looking over people who would. I got Eric Zipper up there as well as a
very underrated player. Very
Extremely underrated. You got let's see.
Tachyon on the source in the chat. Brandon Hanna, great shout.
Sure.
3-division player. Well, potentially 3-division.
Potentially,
yeah. And who was the one that I was thinking of before?
Yeah, Alonso Giralde.
John Humphrey.
Yes.
Another solid player.
Although, if you pick up John Humphrey, you have to pick up Greg Alba, because we cannot break up the real rejects. We just broke up the Wildberries this past season, and we cannot break up the real rejects.
I think they're the longest reigning team, right? Longest reigning active team, I think.
Yeah, longest active team together. And I love them with all of my heart.
Yeah, there's nobody better to wake up to. Somehow they wake up earlier than me on the East Coast and still record all their reviews. It's pretty.
So, do you think that the Dem was an interesting thing going on there? So, Paul Preston, obviously, I think Leo said in the chat earlier that like he was lucky. He's lucky to be kept. Obviously, he is a good player. Didn't have a great year last year. I just think it comes with the right circumstances for him. So, yes, he needs a maybe a top tier player to be his sparring partner. I'm not saying Tom's not, but just maybe he's not the right personality. He just wasn't the right fit. So is Ben that player? We're not sure. But yes, I think him to be the kind of the A side in the rest of the team. I don't know. We'll see. So it was a definitely interesting keep. But she didn't really have many other top tier players to pick from. So I kind of get why she kept him. And then but she's got the last laugh in the draft, really, where she can pick pretty much 3 in the first round. So interesting choices for Kate.
And I'm not hating the thought of a Paul Preston, Mark Riley team. I think I would really like that team.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
This is like the dinner setup. This is all. It's in their court now. You have to just you just gotta watch out because they can load up, get some names, and actually seem to make a difference here. I think this is definitely set up to explode. So I think we should go ahead and bring on a little segue. Our first guest of the show. Guys, it's been the rookie brigade up in this house. We got rookies on rookies on rookies coming up in here trying to make their case for why their name should be called by the commissioner himself. And hopefully, I hope it's a man dressed in an orange suit with him. I really hope Mark busts out the carrot costume again. Or, just the good old carrot suit. It's been a while. I miss it. But you know what? Bongs, take the honors of introducing our guest, sir.
Well, she is the reigning and defending DragonCon champion. She's one of the most touted rookies, in the Star Wars division. She's, seemingly got a great personality, on the circuit that I've seen her on the other after shows on Spin from the Real. Check them out if you haven't already. So she's exciting pick. So I'm pretty sure these DragonCon players are all going to get drafted. They're kind of too exciting. Their potential is too exciting not to. So yes, we are introducing Marie to the show. That's Marie E. Wilson.
Hey guys.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Well, we've been hearing so much about these legendary Dragon Con players. This is now becoming like the Fight Club of the movie trivia Schmoedown.
We've got canon and legends, and they're coming together.
Yeah, totally feels that way. Where it's like you guys have been over doing your own thing, maybe some Rogue Squadron, maybe a little Dark Apprentice action. Check out our Legends review. We did top 5 Legends novels over on our Star Wars show. We have the high ground yesterday with the other rookie, Thomas Harper. Check that out.
Nice.
Get over into all that stuff. And now you guys are becoming canon in the Schmoedown world. But tell us your Schmoedown story. How did you get, where did you hear about this crazy world that we, for some reason, slave away hours of our lives on the internet for?
I heard about it originally from Alex, of course, having been competing with him the past 4 years at DragonCon. I knew that he was competing in this other trivia competition, and I've been really interested in it. I just didn't know much about it, didn't know where to go to find information, and then it kind of came to the forefront a little bit this summer when they had the Star Wars tournament and some Star Wars matches, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, I really definitely want to be a part of this. And then once I won the DragonCon trivia this year, someone responded to one of my tweets about it, or one of somebody else's tweets about it, and said, like, get this girl in the Schmoedown. And I was like, yes, like, let's do this thing. And so I talked to Alex about it, was like, how do I do this? What do I do? And so he's been really supportive and really wants me to be a part of this. And that's been wonderful to have that support. And yeah, I did my audition tapes, and that was a lot of fun, and got into the draft list. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready for war. Like, let's do this thing.
Let's go. That's awesome. What model of space fight, or what fighter are we hopping in?
A U-wing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I fly around A-wing kind of guy. I feel like for some reason Battlefront, I like the way they maneuver. I like it.
Nice. Very nice.
I got a sneaky suspicion, Boggs. Alex Damon is scared shitless. Every one of these rookies coming in from Dragon Con has done something that no other player currently on a team or had been on a faction has done. Has beaten Alex Damon in a Star Wars trivia match. I watched his Q&A this morning. Somebody sent in a question and was like, what Star Wars rookie are you most, excited for? He couldn't name one because he's scared of all of them. He's terrified. I think he might. Soul, I hate to take your call from earlier in the show where you're like, he might be double belted. I think he may be at the possibility of not have any belts by the end of the season. Boggs, is that crazy?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Imagine him bringing someone into the show and then them snatching the belt away from him. So, I mean, like hopefully, like Kylo Ren snatches the the necklace off Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yes, I wouldn't mind that. I think Alex needs to take a loss to basically see how good he is as a overall Schmoedown player and champion, because he is undefeated in quite a while. So it would be nice to see him come from behind maybe, or take a loss and come back. Let's see what he's got, kind of thing. But I think what it comes down for some of you guys, yourself and Thomas, that obviously the knowledge is there. We know that. But it's just about the gameplay, like in terms of the rules, in terms of what to use, what strategies to use, potential challenges, times, answering questions under pressure. Obviously, like we spoke with Thomas about, it was on, let's just say the final last year was live on Twitch in front of 12,000 people. That's a unique under pressure kind of environment and scenario. So these are the kind of things that, as a rookie, that you can't kind of really practice for.
How many watch Dragon Con?
Yeah.
It was, I can't remember, but it was definitely.
I assume it's not too different.
It was definitely over 1,000.
That's good experience. That's still good experience to have at least some of it, because I think that's something that we've talked about on this show a lot, Boggs, is that like we had a whole season of people who had no experience with this online format whatsoever before they started last season, and then you had a whole crop of people who came from Schmoedown fan leagues and then eventually made it and were like, oh, I've been playing in front of a computer for years before I made it to the show. So they're a bit more, noticeable about it. But you guys, rookies, now have an opportunity to at least, have had a year of Zoom calling with Skype calling before, having come onto the show. So it should be interesting to see. But y'all are just too prepared for this. I think that's something that has to be, we talked about it with Thomas, like y'all have to know everything for Dragon Con.
Yeah.
So now you're just able to focus. So what has been, you don't have to give away your secrets or anything. I know everybody's got their, notions, everything, but like, how are you taking a different approach from Dragon Con, or are you taking the same approach from Dragon Con and just, ignoring all the stuff you have to ignore?
So what I've been doing so far is, and obviously I'm not going to be too specific, but what I have done so far is reorganize all of the information that I have written out into a system that makes sense for the Schmoedown. So I have a whole bunch of information that I have for Dragon Con, and I've culled that, I've taken out of it what applies to Schmoedown and then reorganized it. So I've already done that digitally with what I've got, and it's already quite a bit. So I've already started studying. I've been watching all the matches, and I've been learning the gameplay as best I can, and I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job preparing ahead of time.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. I mean, this is just gonna be I feel like you guys are just gonna. You guys are gonna crush it. I don't think some of y'all are gonna miss a question. I really think some of y'all are so prepared for this that like we could go like matches without somebody. Like, if you go up against somebody who's a non-Dragon Con opponent, you better strap into your, you better strap your boots on and better hope that they don't come. Like, this is going to be, like, y'all better watch out. I haven't seen people so prepared and so hyped coming into this. Like, honestly, y'all have, like, Knights of Ren level hype right now. Like, there is so much riding on this. Please don't mess up. Like, 'cause I think y'all could come in here and really make some waves. Soul, I feel like this is just too much now. Like, now the Star Wars division was so great last year with Twitch, and now you throw these amazing competitors in, it just gets even better.
So we had like amazing competitors like Ace and Andrew, and then we finally got to see Molly put her foot in the ring, and that was super awesome to watch. And so first off, that we're getting another female competitor. I think you're getting picked up in the draft. So I'm not even gonna say like, oh, who might get. You're getting picked up in the draft. So another female competitor in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. That's amazing to see, and I think you're just gonna do awesome. I actually saw the Dragon Con and you winning. And correct me if I'm wrong. You're the first female winner of Dragon Con, correct?
So in its current formulation, with Daniel being the question writer, the really crazy difficult question writer, I was the first woman to win. Yes.
That's amazing. And I thought I knew Star Wars, and I told Thomas this too. When I watched that, I was like, I don't know anything about Star Wars. I sometimes am a guest on their show. We have the high grounds, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm qualified for this anymore.
Yeah, there's a joke that one of my teachers in film school made where we would have this wonderful adjunct professor. His name was Frost. Would come in, and Frost was in his late 60s, early 70s, and he worked in the film industry in New York in the 60s and 70s. And we look at Frost and go, damn, that guy's forgotten more about film than I can ever hope to learn. And that's how I look at every single one of y'all. It's like, y'all have some Star Wars facts coming out the ass that I'm just like, what? Wait, no. Go back to that. Like, what planet was that? No. Hold on. Like, this is just too, like, y'all are so ready for this. I think this is really going to be like, they have to bring, like, Boggs and I both had a moment where, like, we felt so ashamed to host a Star Wars show after our performance with the questions in the championship round of the last Star Wars match that we saw between Alex and Ace. I've never seen. I'm curious. Did you watch that? Did you watch that match?
Yes,
How did you do?
I watched it several matches ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I did good. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew the race of Boggs, what was the question about the race of monks in Return of the Jedi?
Oh,
think it was in
Bomar
Rogue.
monks.
Oh, boom, nailed it. Oh, nailed
That
it.
was like, that was easy.
I was like, that's a gimme.
Loaded. That's awesome. I love it.
So do you have like a hit list, Marie, of players that you want to face first, or that kind of thing? Because in terms of the amount of players we have this season, it may go to a seeding. So maybe as a newer player, you may play someone who's ranked number 1, number 2, number 3. So is there any kind of, have you envisioned who you might play, or who you'd like to kind of be on the hit list before you get to the champ?
So thinking of other, just to keep it super realistic, thinking of other rookies, I would really like to compete against Lacey Gillerin. I don't know. I really want to see how we stack up, and I
you
think
want
I
it.
could,
You want it. You can't help nature. Sometimes nature calls. You just
yeah,
just
like
follow
I
your
think I could
instincts.
really conquer that match, and I would really love to do that match.
I love that. Let's do it.
So,
Sign it up,
yeah.
Christian. If you're listening, get it. First Star Wars rookie match. Let's go.
And something I wanted to throw out there it's kind of, well, it's related to everything that we've been talking about, but one thing that really helps with the knowledge that I've got up here is the fact that I do know all the books and comics and TV show episodes, like all 133 Clone Wars episodes and all that. So the connections and like how everything intersects is in my head. So if there's something in a movie that is really obscure, but yet it connects to something in a comic, a book, or a TV show, like I can pull it from that other source
Okay.
and get that right away. So I think having that extra knowledge actually helps with making those neural
Mhm.
pathways.
Find it
Yeah,
away.
definitely.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it
'cause-
reminds me of and Soul. I know you're probably the exact same way. We watched the episode of Sherlock where he went into the mind library, and we were like, finally, somebody explained how my brain works, and I could definitely see that. Like for a Star Wars fan, like us, especially you, Marie, like you're just flipping through the pages in your brain. You know exactly where the pages are. You have to find them. You know exactly where they are. And it's just a matter of getting to the information in your head. I have no
Yeah.
doubt that all of the correct answers are in your head, but that's what makes the Schmoedown so unique, is that it really makes people question themselves even when they know it. How many times have we watched players in a regular singles or a teams match be like, that was my instinct, and I didn't go with my instinct. I second guessed myself. I think Star Wars competitors are in like the top flight ones just have like it's a killer's mentality. It really is. Like, I know this and I know this. Shut up, sit down, and I'm gonna tell you that I know it. And
Yeah.
I love it, and you guys are bringing this energy. And I think Soul, our question writer extraordinaire, has prepared 5 Star Wars questions for us to see. Which I named this segment. We'll see how it goes. Are you smarter than a Schmoedown competitor, Boggs?
Definitely not this one. Definitely.
Definitely not this one. These are
and
gonna.
I will-
It's
I will
almost you
say-
and me, Colin, and she can like be a referee or something. But no, it's not.
Yeah,
not
let's
equal
see.
fight.
Let's
and
see.
with the questions, like some of them, I'm like, I was trying to be like, oh, this needs to be harder for Marie. And then I was like, I couldn't find the hard. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to Colin and Fox. So these are probably questions that are a little bit easier. And it'll be like, oh, that was easy for
This is
Marie.
definitely Bonds and Colin fighting for second. Let's just be very clear here. I'm definitely just trying to get 2 correct. Better than my performance last week.
So if you have something to write on, like
Are you okay, Marie? By the way, are you okay to do that and to run through a few
Whew,
questions?
let's do it.
Yeah.
When has she ever answered Star Wars questions on the internet before?
Hey, she do it with her eyes closed, right? They're all straightforward. It's more. I was hoping she'd say no, and then we don't do it because I don't want to embarrass.
Now we have to check in our Star Wars show host cards after this box.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you guys ready?
Oh, Misa ready.
Yes.
All right. So the first question is in the category of The Last Jedi.
Oh yes, Boggs hates this movie.
What is the first thing Finn says in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, after he wakes up?
Oh.
Oh gosh.
So I have something to discuss with you afterwards, Marie. I heard that you rank Attack of the Clones really high on your
Yes.
on yours.
So does Boggs. You guys have so much.
We have plenty to talk
fun!
about. You don't worry. You don't worry. You don't worry. We have plenty to
5,
talk about.
4, 3, 2, 1. Colin?
Where's Ray?
That's correct. Marie?
I didn't put the wares. I just put Ray.
I didn't as well. I just put Ray.
Yes! Victory!
I think that goes to Colin only.
Oh, really?
Nice. Very nice.
Damn.
Okay.
Wait, and also you have to just like now every time I watch The Last Jedi, it's just a drinking game of every time Finn says Ray.
Ray.
Oh, Ray! Ray! Ray!
And Rise of Skywalker as well. You couldn't.
Yeah, it's
double
literally.
feature that.
Oh, Rise of
Figure it out.
Skywalker is way worse. It's like watching Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix, the anime. Like, oh, Meliodas. How many times is Ray? And oh man, oh this would be. Oof,
Go ahead,
that's
so.
a bad movie.
All right. In the category of The Phantom Menace,
Love that movie.
what is the name of the pod race in Star Wars Episode 1,
Oh.
The Phantom Menace?
Oh fuck! How do I spell this? I mean, this
5,
is one of the most heralded sporting
4,
events in all
3,
of
2,
the known galaxy.
1. Marie.
Boon to Eve Classic.
Oh,
That is
spelled it right.
correct.
Poggers.
I spelled
Bog
BU
spelled it
NTS.
wrong. He gets it wrong. Colin spelled it right. Let's go.
All right, let's go to the next question.
I would have challenged your spelling, Boggs. I would have challenged your spelling.
Oh dear.
Now, this one is a gimme one because I wanted to give you guys a gimme one.
Oh,
And
she
I'm
didn't think we were
very-
going to get these two. Oh, okay. Already leading
I
the odds.
figured you got Boon to Eve Classic, but I'm giving this one's a little bit easier, so I'm going to be disappointed if you get it wrong, is what I'm
I'm
saying.
destined to get this one wrong. I've already set myself up for failure.
And this is in the category of The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What is the name of the planet where Luke finds Yoda in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back?
Okay. Listen here. My unborn child knows the answer to this question.
5,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Bugs.
There you go.
There you go. See, I'm not disappointed in you guys. Look, I'm so.
Yeah, I said I wanted 2. I've gotten 3. I'm good.
Okay. This one's a little bit harder. In the category of Attack of the Clones, name one of the 3 creatures that Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme fight in the arena on Geonosis.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I was reading one of the comments in the chat from Matt. Can I have a repeat, please?
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Name one of the 3 creatures that Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme fight in the arena on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones.
All right, I got a great name for it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, Colin.
6-eyed tiger alien thingy.
Which would be a
The
Nexu.
Nexu.
I had a very similar answer to Colin. I said the plant monster. You know, it's got
That
the-
would be an
the
Ackley.
tractor. Oh, okay. Close.
Hey, hey, Matt, you're not the judge of this. All right, I'm right. Boggs is wrong. It's fine. Nope. Boggs. No, I'm right. Boggs is wrong.
So yeah,
This
he
is
says
not
where's later,
revisionist
right? With
history.
Poe.
This
so-
is some bullshit
Mhm.
revisionist history. Okay. This is the. No, we can't have
It's fine.
this. This is
It's
setting
fine.
a precedent. We've already
Next
gone on
question,
to other
so-
questions. We're breaking protocol.
And then this one's the other gimme that I put because you guys should all know this question. And that is, let me get, what year did Star Wars, later named Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, come out?
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I can take 4 out of 5. Or 3. No. Yeah, 4 out of 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Marie. 1977.
1977.
That's correct. Bugs.
Confirmed.
Yep. I'm so proud of you guys.
1977. Thanks, Saul. We appreciate you. And we appreciate
That wasn't too bad.
Marie coming on the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Look, you got the whole Schmoedown wide world right here. If there's anything you want to say to managers out there right now, here's the chance. Give them your pitch. Why should they draft you?
If you want someone, let me start over. Hey, managers, if you want someone who is committed, who is dedicated, who is hardworking, who loves Star Wars, loves what she does, and will study like none other, and wants to conquer this thing, I'm your girl.
You tell him, go. You tell him.
Boom. And you beat Alex David. So tell him what it is. Tell him what it is.
2020 Dragon Con Star Wars trivia. champion.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go.
That's it. And where can the fine folks find you on the internet?
You can find me at Alia Morgaine on Twitter, and everybody who's interested should totally check out Afra's Artifacts on YouTube, where I talk about queer Star Wars.
Ooh, I love that. Afra is the bomb. That sounds like so much
she is.
fun. Marie,
She's pretty
thank you
awesome.
so much for coming on. You were such a great guest. You're welcome back here anytime. We'd love to have you after your first match and talk about the experience. So please don't be a stranger. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Whew. Guys, how cool was she? I think this is just it's just proof that the rookies this season are not coming to play around. This is not like last year. I think a lot of it was like, a lot of the rookies came in after the draft, kind of came in and just kind of, Adam Collins really just kind of came in and just weaseled his way into a little spot on the roster and then took over. These rookies have a chance to be foundation pieces for these rosters. Like they have a real chance to like actually make a difference. So if you can get some of these qualified Star Wars players, this is going to get crazy. Speaking of crazy, things have been getting crazy around here lately, Boggs. How's your packing doing? You've been packing?
Yeah, well, obviously, we were supposed to go to the Pop Culture Universe, the other YouTube channel that we're on. We do movie reviews, we do have a Star Wars show on there, we do reaction videos, that kind of stuff. So it didn't work out. So yeah.
I thought we signed a lease. We didn't sign a lease?
Yeah, no, we haven't agreed a deal yet. Let's just say that. Wink,
what
wink.
do you... Soul, I thought we had a deal. I thought we... What?
I was here to help you
going
guys.
to PCU.
I was here to help you guys pack up, and like no one
You were
arrived.
supposed to watch us carry the couches down.
I know. I was
everything.
supposed to supervise, and I was the only one who showed up.
I mean, Sean, producer Sean? What's going on here, man? I thought we had a deal, dude. What's going on? Is something? Is something happening? I think somebody is coming and like maybe like bought our. Somebody kind of. I think they bought our show. Is that what's happening? Maybe not bought, but kind of. It's kind of. I don't know. Consumes the wrong word. Kind of absorbed us into a bigger ecosystem. I'm gonna bring producer Sean on to bring in some insights into the backstageness of all this. Producer Sean, what is going on here?
What's going on, guys?
I mean, I don't know. I thought we had a ironclad deal signed up.
Right.
This was supposed to be on another channel, and somehow that deal fell through, and now we're kind of in a limbo state. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. Your guys' guess is as good as mine.
I came on here last week and I said this was the last show on this channel. I was gonna make a trailer. It was gonna be like, hey, come hang out with us over, like Bog said, at the PCU. But sometimes fate comes a knocking. And sometimes you just got to answer that door. Because sometimes what's banging at the door is really effing loud, Sean. And sometimes you just got to give in to fate.
Yeah, I mean, wait, what's going on? Did you guys send the link to somebody else? Because someone else is in the waiting room here.
Well, let's go ahead and bring that other person on. Let's go ahead. Because who could be crashing this show but none other than the man himself. The former movie trivia Schmoedown champion of the world, John the Outlaw Roca. Welcome to the show, sir.
Whoa.
Well, first of all, that's the worst intro I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Okay.
You don't say former, you say future. That's how you deal with it. And I'm looking down again. Do you assholes think I'm reading again? Fuck you. That's not how this goes. I am the outlaw, so I look up when I goddamn well feel like it. And if I don't, then I don't think you're worth my time to look you straight in the eye, just to let you know. And yeah, you talk about you were going to go to another channel, another network. Well, it's called a hostile takeover, son, and that's what I've done. I have taken over the Ultimate Schmoedown Show, and it is now going to be on the Outlaw Nation channel. Saturdays live on the Outlaw Nation channel. The Ultimate Schmoedown Show will now be on my channel. And finally, we're going to get you some decent graphics, some real production value, maybe a better producer. I don't know. We'll see how Sean does. I got to put him through his paces. And we might have to put Boggs through his paces as well. Some of his opinions and points of views I got issues with. And where's that little spindly kid with the ears? Is he still on this show? Where is he at?
He was unable to make it today, but John,
that's not going to be allowed. You don't get to call in sick to the Ultimate Schmoedown Show, but it's on the Outlaw Nation channel. You show up or you show out. That's the way it works.
Well, John, I'm a little stunned here. I didn't see this coming. What brought this on?
Well, I've watched the show, and the show's gotten so much better, and you finally got someone of real talent and real knowledge like Soul on this show. And now, finally, this is a complete show with good points of views, and I like the way you approach things. I like the way you handle things, and so I want you on the channel, and I want to uplift this show and get some more attention, some more views, and get you guys some great guests as well. And, of course, the Outlaw will be dropping by. Maybe I'll be doing a weekly segment, pre-tape weekly segment of my point of view. The Outlaw's Corner might be maybe to put on the show. We'll see. If I feel like it, we'll see.
We'll take what we can get, sir.
That's right, you will.
Yes, we will. And if we could just ask for one thing, what is your opinion on the current state of the exchange?
This is the strongest exchange we've ever had. Nobody needs to be mollycoddled on this exchange anymore. Nobody needs to get their hair stroked, their hand held. Nobody needs to come and talk about, I don't know if I can win this match or not. All those days are over. Now it's about, you better show the hell up and perform and get those W's and get those belts. That's what it's about. We got JTE to be our third, and that is an awesome. That man is a multi-time defending tag team champion. He's a legend. He knocked out Drew McWeeny. Everyone's been talking about McWeeny coming back. Screw that. JTE took him to multiple rounds of sudden death and beat him. JTE's beat me 3 times. I know. I've tasted loss at the expense of JTE. So I know we've got ourselves a hell of a thing. And Craig the Barbarian, who has been building this faction up with the training and the studying, but phenomenal amounts of Excel spreadsheets. The studying he does is incredible. He passes that knowledge on to us. And finally, there's not going to be people hiding things from each other, people being worried that another person's going to know as much as them, protecting their legacies and their selfish desires to be number one. No, this is a team once and for all. This is a faction once and for all. We're all for one and one for all, and we're going to get those belts back, and we're going to win that faction championship for damn sure.
Boggs, give it to him.
It's about time, sir. The Outlaw came back. We've been waiting since the digital era for the Outlaw to return, come to take your throne again. At the end of the day, they ain't making no documentaries about DanMerle, are they? So
no,
it's about time, sir. You come back.
The only 2 people that did is me and JTE, Boggs, and that's there's a reason for that, because we are 2 of the greats. JTE, belongs on the Mount Schmoedown, whatever the hell they want to call it, Rush Schmo. He belongs on that for tag teams for damn sure. And Jeff Snyder, hold on to that belt as long as you can. I found your partner. Who knows? Maybe we'll team up together and come get those belts off you and Draco.
All right, look, it's like a classic Schmo's head. I just had a little moment. That would blow my mind. Little Evil and the Outlaw joining up on the same team would just cause ripples throughout the league. You don't need anything else. That's prime time. That's box office.
That's right. JT looks good in a cowboy hat, so we're set up there.
To steal the line
say something. Soul, you're sitting there all quiet. The only reason I picked this show up is because of you. Give me something here.
I absolutely love it. The Outlaw is back, baby. And he's getting those belts. He's going to all the belts. It's coming to the Finstock Exchange. You got this.
You better believe it.
I'm so proud that you guys have brought JTE on. I'm so proud of the Outlaw. I'm so ready to see the Outlaw play and get those belts back and win and show everyone what's up. And that he is the GOAT. The Outlaw is the GOAT. The
real GOAT. Here's the deal. You people like to kiss Dan's butt because he's nice and sweet and he makes you feel good inside. He's a good guy. Well, that's not what gets things done in the real world. Okay? In the real world, you need to be a little bit evil. You need to be a little bit more selfish than the other guy. And that is what the Outlaw is, and that's what the Outlaw was from the beginning. See, you motherfuckers forgot what the hell the Outlaw was. Well, he's back now. Y'all been crowing about Kalinowski and Chandru. Oh, it's nice he can do a floss dance. Give me a break. He's in there doing Whose Houses during that special. It was the most ridiculous, nerdy thing I've ever. I'm so sick of it, and I'm ready. All right? All you kids out there, all you people who watch the Schmoedown, get ready. All right? All you down there popping your zits, trying to lose that weight, trying to be cool for the ladies or cool for the men, the days of that kind of crap are over. All right? I'm coming, and I'm going to smoke all you fools, and I'm going to get all those belts back, and we're going to win that faction title. We got so many tricks up our sleeves. You guys have no idea. You have no idea what's coming.
You got a whiteboard, though, right?
Get ready for war, baby. Get ready.
But listen,
for war.
John, question. So
I got a
obviously,
blackboard. I'm going to write white. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Question with obviously, if you team up with a barbarian this year, then JT obviously he needs a partner, right? So obviously it must have been hard to let DanMerle go. In terms of maybe the first couple of picks, are you looking immediately for JT's partner, or are you going more Star Wars? Obviously, without Dan and Ben there anymore, I'm assuming you're the kind of, assistant manager now. So, going into next year, which you said you're going to manage, so you're looking to take more of a step into that kind of world there, the management world. So, first pick, second pick.
You ask good questions, Boggs, and I appreciate that. Here's the deal. Players cannot be assistant managers, so I will not be assistant manager. This season, none of the players can be assistant managers. That's going to be disallowed. Only non-players can be assistant managers for the factions. Apparently, it was an issue last year. A lot of crybabies on different factions messing things up for other people who know how to do it right. So that's not going to be possible. That being said, you're a damn fool if you think I'm going to give you our strategy before we draft on free agency. All I can tell you is all the options are on the table. Just finished a 2-hour call with the other members of the Finstock Exchange about the multiple directions we can go in. And, of course, we wiped our butts with that terrible trade between Kate and Shannon. Talk about what is that? Or helping another faction win their title? It's almost like Shannon's the Patriots getting best players traded to them so they can help them win another Super Bowl. You know what? I love it, though. I love it because it's more motivation for us to take down corruption. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I think the Dan made a good trade. I think if you were the Dan, I think if you were Kate, you probably would have done the same thing, but your name's the Outlaw.
Of course, because you're a simpering fool. I don't know how long you're going to host this show, to be honest with you, while you're on my channel. We'll find out.
So, Mr. Outlaw, are you going after corruption more, or are you going after dungeon? Who do you have your eyes set on? Who do you want to defeat more?
DanMerle is the first one. Dandy DanMerle, that's the guy I got to take out. The guy in your favorite flannel from Ross Dress for Less. The guy with the still wearing the same hat from the time he graduated at Florida State. That's the guy I'm going after. You understand me? That's the guy I want. He wears that hat because I've scared all the hair off his head, for God's sakes. This is what it's about. I'm coming for him first. The dungeon is just collateral damage. And that little weasel Bateman is just like something I'm going to flick off a table and just kick off the table there, smack like a fly. Kaiser too, or Kaiser, whatever he's calling himself this year. And Smets, you're not out of the woods either, pal. I know you're dealing with some stuff. I love and respect you, but you're on that faction. So be careful. You might be collateral damage as well. Anybody joining that faction better be ready. The Outlaw's got his laser eyesight set on DanMerle and anyone else who gets in my way. Now, if corruption comes and rolls up in here, well, we got ourselves a new faction this year. And everybody better wake up and realize Finstock has been Manager of the Year 6 times. I'm glad everybody loves Winston A. Marshall, loves Roxy, loves Coy, loves all the people nowadays, all these great managers who literally had 1 year of success. Everyone's kissing their ass. Well, I appreciate longevity and consistency. Finstock has been that. And he finally bought into my approach to things. And we are together now on this. Who helped him draft last year, the exchange? That was Ben Bateman. What happened? Crash and burn. This is different now. We got more focus now. We're not about helping prop up Ben Bateman's legacy. We're about propping up the Finstock exchange. That's what matters.
Boom.
I'm here for it. Boom.
John, I have a question. I appreciate. Okay.
And it's the Outlaw.
Well, okay, whatever. Just relax.
No, whatever. Take him off. Take him off. I don't want to see him on here. What's your stupid ass question? Hurry up.
Anyways, well, I'm one of the producers on the show. You can't tell me what to do.
Oh, I can actually if I bought the show, which I just did. There you go. You understand the power that I have.
I'm trying to get some respect back, Sean. Sorry, I was in a bad place with the Outlaw, and I had to get back in.
See, I brought myself back. That's how it works. So, Outlaw.
Not for much longer.
Outlaw, I have a question.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to address Bateman's concerns and Dan's concerned about Finstock not being there at the last match? I mean, that was the match of the year, and he wasn't there. Like, you could understand anyone else's concern about coming to the Finstock Exchange with the biggest match of the year. He wasn't there. So when you're potentially going after other players or drafting other players, and they bring that up, what is your answer to them?
That's kind of like an NFL player, like, like getting in a shooting or something. Like, you gotta have an answer for that at the draft. Like, someone's gonna ask you these questions. Like, I feel like, like it's not too far-fetched, right?
Yeah. Well, if you shut up for a second, I'll answer it. Here's what I'll tell you. 2020 was 2020. 2021 is a whole new year, and that's how we approach things. And look, we haven't heard any of that. So many players have reached out to us personally on our DMs, on our Facebook messages, on our Instagram DMs, asking us to draft them. So we haven't encountered any of those issues of people going, oh, he hasn't showed up. Because here's the deal. Just like this clown that's not here now, just because he doesn't show up for one show doesn't mean he's not worth being on the show, does it? And the same thing with Finstock. He didn't show up for one match because he knew Dan was going to blow it. He asked me to sit in. He thought I could get the best out of Dan, like I did in Atlanta at the beginning of the year and got him to beat Ben. Well, this time around, I don't think anybody could argue how well I managed Dan. You can hate me all you want, but I managed the hell out of Dan. Took him into the last round. It's not my fault he left a repeat on the table when he could have taken that to maybe get to Sean Penn. That's on him, not me. So we're fine. Wow. Here's what I'm saying. You didn't show up for one match. That's great. He showed up for 6 and 9/10 of years of matches. That should be what you're looking at, not the one match he didn't show up. If you're that kind of a simp, we don't need you on the exchange.
Let that one slide.
Wow.
We let that one slide. I mean, he's proved how much, right? We can let that man slide. But John, any for all these rookies that are applying this year, they're all cutting promos, all going on after shows, doing interviews. Any tips, any guidance for these guys? Because I'm not going to ask you which ones you're looking at, because obviously that'll be tipping us off. But is there anything, again, we might have some on the show for the next week. They might be on other shows. Any guidance you can give any of these guys that are watching, or some of them are in the chat right now?
Yeah, here's my guidance to you. Find your guts. Or for those dudes out there, find your nuts. That's what it's all about. Because once you step in the ring now, this ain't like it was 4 or 5 years ago. People come to play now. People understand what this game's all about. Everybody has elevated. I elevated when I came in. I was the first one to study, showed the path. Then everybody picked it up and came up with new ways to study, better ways to study every year. And so it's gotten stronger and stronger. And you've seen someone like Collins can come in, have 3 months of good work, and win a singles player of the year. Even though DanMerle, as much as I may hate him right now, deserved it over Adam Collins, in my opinion. Adam Collins still became a star off that. Not that he's going to do anything with it, sitting at home trying to figure out how long to grow his beard out, like looking like Rip Van Winkle, for God's sakes. Are we gonna sterilize that belt before we get it back from him once someone beats him? Probably me. I'm gonna make sure that thing gets sterilized before I get it back from him. It's ridiculous.
I mean, he seems to be on a farm in the middle of God knows where. Every time I see
no
him,
wonder he's got all this time to study.
Yeah, he seems to be doing all right. So, look, this is crazy. The Outlaw is coming up in here saying that this is the Exchange's year. I haven't heard too many people today talking about the Exchange. This has not been the Exchange's day. This has been everybody else's day. What's going on here?
Well, we haven't gotten to the Exchange yet to speak about, and the fact that JTE is back. And you cannot underestimate JTE. He's done so much in this league. He's one half of the greatest team, the Patriots, in the Schmoedown, and he's going to show this year why he's even a better team this year. And I just can't wait to see JTE come back full force, full strength. Obviously, we know the Outlaw and how great he is and how good he's going to be this year. So that's no question. We don't need to talk about that. That's already set in stone.
Yeah. And I tell you what, it's cracking me up seeing all these people commenting, oh, he's old news. Who cares where the Outlaw is going? Good. It feels like 2016 all over again. I love it when you clowns doubt me, hate me, all the things that you do. It's beautiful. I don't just drink your tears. I drink all your bodily fluid. I drain you dry. And by the time I'm done, I'm standing there holding my belt, and you're crying because I beat one of your heroes. You're crying because I beat someone you love. And I can't wait. So please keep feeding me. Please keep nourishing me with your tears and your crying and your whining and your moaning and your bitching and your insults. Because all of those go up on my wall. And when I'm done, all of you are going to owe me a huge apology when it's all over. And don't start being a fan of mine now. Don't you start being a fan of mine when I'm holding that belt. Because I'm going to check. You're going to come up to me. You're going to say, great job, Outlaw. Congratulations. What's your name? Brandon Buckingham? Oh, I remember you, clown. Get out of my face. That's what it's going to be like.
Call him out. Call him out.
Yeah, John. Like, I got to address that. Like, let that drive you. Like, especially when you've seen Ace last year getting written off. You know, seeing Chance getting last year absolutely written off. Chandru written off. You know, a lot of the minorities sometimes coincidentally are written off. Obviously, you being the kind of exactly. You know, some of us have to work a lot harder than others, but obviously a lot of different reasons. But yes, absolutely, we know going in, you're being written off again. So absolutely can't wait for you to prove a lot of these people wrong. Get some respect back on the Finstock Exchange, and obviously prove that why you're the best out there. So yes, I just want to reiterate that. I hope you show all these fools for doubting you. Yes, and I can't wait for you to prove that.
People forget how close I was to winning against Ethan. We went multiple rounds of sudden death. People forget I'm the one that smoked through that Angela Bassett stuff. I knew the 5-pointer at the end of our team's match. In both of those matches, Dan didn't know the 5-pointer. He didn't know the Martin Scorsese film, and he didn't know Terrence Stamp and Young Guns. I got those to even give us a shot to win those, to retain the belts, or to get a shot to go into the finals of the tournament last year. So people forget, people doubt. But just because I had a couple of L's last year doesn't mean I still ain't got it. And Collins, after I take care of Dan, you're next, pal. You're next.
So you say you want to take out Dan, but, I mean, champ, you know that ain't how the game works, man. You got to get through someone to get to the champ. So if you had to, take a little shot at someone a little bit before the former champ, who do you think you want to step up against? Kind of, get back in the ring. See how the champ does his thing.
I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is.
Line them up, you'll knock them down.
That's how it's always been, isn't it?
Let's go.
Put my head down, get those victories, march towards belts. I've won 4 of them. While most of the people watching right now can't even win one thing in their lives, I won 4 belts. So you can judge me from your place of loss. I'm going to sit in my place of victory. And that's where I reside. That's where the Outlaw's always been. I've got so many scalps on my wall, I had to start a whole new house just to fit them all. So this season, I'm going to keep collecting once again like I used to before. I tried playing the good guy over the last few years, getting all the fans to come up. We love you, Outlaw. You're the best, Outlaw. Oh, you do so much. You inspire me. Enough. All that got me weak. It got me soft, and I lost some matches that I should have won. Well, when did I not do that? That's when I was focused on winning. I didn't care what the fans were saying, and I was going for what I want, which is belts. So now I'm back. And you can doubt me. You can make all your stupid-ass show, your stupid nerd jokes that are terrible. Make them all. But when it's all over, I'll be having the belts on my shoulders. You better believe it. Maybe even triple belted. Maybe I'll go smack Damon's ass once and for all and take that Star Wars belt off his shoulder. That would piss. How many people would cry if the Outlaw added to his legacy a defeat of Alex Damon to take that belt off him? Woo! How many people would cry?
All like 800,000 subscribers on Star Wars Explained. All of them. Just tell them all. Tell them all off, because I think you could do it, champ. You can do it. You could come up in here. If it is an attitude thing, That is something that is very underrated in the Schmoedown, is how your attitude can carry you to victory any given day. They say any given Sunday in the NFL. I'd say any given day in the Schmoedown. Anyone can come up. We saw Andrew Guy beat DanMerle. Anyone can walk up in the arena and beat anyone on any given day. You come up in there with your IG knowledge, which I believe is much deeper than anyone probably gives credit for. I think you can come up in there and hold your own, maybe better than Alex Damon did last season, and he got a couple wins under his belt in the IG tournament. So come on up out of here, man. Tell them what's up, and don't think that the exchange needs to go out and get a IG player. You can be that IG player, champ.
Maybe. We'll see. As I said, everything's in play for the exchange. I've never been happier on a faction than I already am on this exchange. 2-hour conversation, nothing but laughs, smiles, and a little evil. And it was awesome.
Bringing some excitement back to the Finstock Exchange. Everyone today's talking about the dungeon. They're talking about, all the moves that kind of Sam's made and, all what's happening with corruption. No one was really talking about the Finstock Exchange. But when you hear the JTE theme, when you hear that Patriots theme, you're like, okay. So power play there. And then obviously going into that draft, it's, for me, it's super exciting. We'll see what comes of it, but yes, the Outlaw is back and we can't wait. So yes, pleasure to have you back, sir.
It's about time to put some more excitement or some real excitement into this league. You know what we've had? We've had Dan, kind of boring. Ben Bateman, super boring. Chandru, even more boring. All these people, Alex Damon, so boring. All these people come in and they win belts and they win titles. That's nice and all. And I'm glad your friends are winning belts or the people you've watched in fan leagues win belts. Well, you know what grew this league? It wasn't matches where people won. It was character. It was personality. It was excitement coupled with winning the belts. That's what you need. Character, personality. That's what I'm bringing back. Excitement, fun again, and true fear. And all of you better fear where I'm at right now. A doubted underdog is not the place you want the Outlaw to be in. That's for goddamn sure. All of you remember it. Call me the past. Call me the past all you want. I will be your future. What's old is new again. Now get me off this screen. Get me off this screen.
Let's go.
We'll see you next week, champ. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Looks like we're on the Outlaw Nation,
Thank
guys.
you for hanging out.
Looks like we
This
are
show
Outlaw
is
Nation.
officially an Outlaw Nation production in more ways than one, not just produced by members of the Outlaw Nation. We are on the Outlaw Nation. And now, folks, the news is out. The cat's out of the bag. We're out of here. Not like right now. We still got more Schmoedown to talk about. But we're out of here on this YouTube channel. This has been awesome. Sean, man, you've been instrumental in all this, putting all this together. So just shout outs and many thanks to you as well.
Yeah, and I just want to put the fear out there that just because we're going to be on the Outlaw Nation channel does not mean that we will be totally unbiased. So if John screws up, if John has a bad match,
I literally told him to get a whiteboard to his face. I was
absolutely
crucified on screen.
He might be on the show. It might be on his channel, but be damn sure that we're going to hold him accountable just like we would any other player at any other time. So if anybody was thinking about that, don't. And
yeah, that was one.
You guys continue with the rest of the show.
That's great. Yes, that was a condition. But yeah, anyway, back to what we on. Whose team are we on? Who haven't we covered yet?
Let's roll over to the usual suspects. I think
Shout
it's a nice
to Matt
little
in the chat as well.
Yeah, Matt saying I fear Boggs in the fan league more.
Yeah, no. I need a match, Matt. Come on, I've not played a match for like 4 months.
Yeah, we ain't played a match in a minute. What the hell's going on here, man? I get you got some stuff going on with your boy Rick Radis, but what? You can't forget about your other clients. You had other clients, and suddenly he's your only client. Come on, man. What's going on here?
And we don't forget about you as well on the Outlaw Nation. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah. You already know. And so. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to the usual suspects. I think the big talk of the night is going to be Drew McWeeny. I think, the Godfather obviously returning to the Schmoedown. I think, yesterday was so cool for someone, so when did you when did you come into Schmoedown?
Around season 5 is when I
Okay,
came
so
in.
season 5, and is that the same time you came into like the Schmoes world as well?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so like I've been watching Drew McWeeny now for like 7 years, like 6-7 years now. And when he was gone, the league just felt a little empty. And Leo coming in said McWeeny was a surprise. When I saw his name in the chat, I thought he was only watching along. No, sir, he was participating, and he is back on one of the most well-rounded factions I think we have now in the game. I think the Usual Suspects and Sam last year took a very interesting shot. Jen Kemp was a great pickup for them, had a great run last season. I love the way that she approaches the game and just brings everything she has to every match. And Sam definitely was a big reason for bringing most of that initial energy out that's going to get her drafted next week. I hope she gets drafted to this team. I would love to see her going up as being maybe like an IG player for this team. I think it would be fantastic. But now to add Liz Shannon Miller and Drew McWeeny to Ethan Irwin's soul, this is spicy. I mean, this is a good little. If you have a trio, like we call them a big three, right? In basketball, you know the big three. You're well acquainted with a big three yourself down there in Miami. This seems to classify to me as a big three.
Yeah, definitely. This 100% is a big three. And like I said at the beginning of the show, like it breaks my heart a little bit that Liz is no longer with Swag because, like, I loved her and Winston.
I hear you
but
there.
I think, and like I said too, I'm not sure which one is going to be the team. Is it going to be Liz and Ethan?
True.
Is it going to be Liz and Drew? Is it going to be Drew and Ethan? Who knows? All of those teams sound awesome. All those teams would be a team that is scary, a team that you wouldn't want to play because they're just such good players.
Matchup McWeeny and Liz. Go McWeeny and Liz. I'm out. I don't want to play that team at all. Give me Liz and Ethan. I don't want to play that team at all. Give me Liz and Drew. Or Drew and Ethan. I don't want to play that team at all. Like any matchup of these three, like I don't want to play two of them at one time.
And we saw what Liz could do with a player like Adam Lavick, who is more of an IG player, but he also does teams, and they won their match last year of Liz and Adam Lavick. People forgot about that.
That's a great piece of tape for both of them. Both of them performed very well in that match and came in exactly what you're saying. Adam played the number 2 position in that match and showed why he is a good number 2.
Yeah. And so I feel that he even is going to get picked up in the draft if you remember to watch that game tape. And I know it's a little harder because that was at the beginning of the year. That was when they were still in studio. But you can't forget those little nuggets of game tape because that's going to make or break the difference between each team. And I love these three together. All three are dangerous. I think Sam has something up his sleeve as well. And I hope that they also pick up Janine because I want Janine back on this team. And yeah, let's make the Usual Suspects the team with all the ladies because that would be great. Let's do it.
Over to the chat real quick. ASG coming in saying this is the least well-rounded faction. No IG or Star Wars. May I remind you, sir, that the current faction champions do not have a sole IG or Star Wars player on their roster. So maybe that's not exactly what you need to win a faction championship. Swinging it over also as well. Leo Logan saying he could get DeMolanta or Mara in the draft for round 1. That could also be huge. That would be fantastic. I think both of those would be fantastic for those teams. You got to have a specialist. I think that's got to be something that they're looking for. And this is a very interesting season to where there's a lot of talent available. Like Eric Zipper, I think would be a great pickup for the Usual Suspects. He could come in there and play 3 divisions right now, today, tomorrow, day after, now.
He's a triple threat, and he's good in each division, and he does not get the credit that he deserves. And also, even when he loses, he's like, and again, what we talked about earlier before is how many times have we seen people second guess. When he played against Stacey Howard, he knew his 5-pointer. Stacey Howard didn't. She just guessed. And because of that, Stacey won that game last year. But Eric Zipper, he has the knowledge to back it up. He just needs to have more confidence in himself. And you saw a little bit of confidence with being on the dungeon. Let's see if either Kaiser picks him back up or another manager can come in and bring him that confidence, and you can have a confident Zipper playing really, really well.
Absolutely. Before we get to Peggy's comment, yeah, ASG, you're totally right. Chance and Mike are IG players. I hear you there. It's just like when I'm talking about specialists in terms of like, yeah, corruption doesn't have to deal with that because obviously they have some doubly talented players that are competing for some inner geekdom titles. Like that, yeah, I flubbed on that one. And then over to Peggy saying I would dig a double Star Wars elimination tournament, our guest last week, but I would want zero part of it. Peggy, come on. You would slay. Let's go. Don't count yourself out. Boggs, double elimination? Maybe you can get one win?
Question for Peggy in the chat. I was wondering, how do you get the DVDs at the top of the old roof? Because they seem quite high. I was thinking, like, because you can just put them in a player, right? I was like, do you need a ladder to get them? But anyway, yes, the in Usual Suspects, I mean, a very interesting kind of situation there. We kind of knew that she was going that he was going to keep Ethan. Obviously, they're quite close friends. Drew McQueen, he came out of the blue. I mean, as soon as I heard the Godfather music, very surprised to see him back. But biggest surprise, yeah, there was Liz. Obviously, Liz, I believe that she chose to left swag to join up with Ethan, where them two can join up as a team. Because I believe, I don't know where I saw it on, I think I watched Kaiser on the Gucci verse, and I think Gucci was saying the rumor is Ethan is joining up with Liz. So the confusion is who is he going to draft for Drew McQueen? Because clearly he isn't going to go team up with a rookie or someone unproven. He needs an elite player. So they were thinking maybe Riley, someone along them lines, because he needs.
Riley, you're
No,
walking on aisle 12.
He needs a big player. Yeah, exactly. He needs a big player to play with, basically. So unless maybe they do a kind of a guy returns thing, like he returns from the Schmoedown type thing, who knows? But I think there's a storyline thing there potentially with Drew McQueen, because obviously he's an older player, so he has a lot of history dating back with numerous players. So it's something interesting, I think, is happening there. But yes, lots going down in the Usual Suspects.
I'm sorry, Peggy, you're 5'11"? That is the
thought
most
something was up there.
deceptive 5'11" I've ever seen on camera in my entire life. There
Just
is-
sits like that. So
Wow,
It's hard
that
to
was
tell,
like, what? What is it?
Hard to
All
tell.
hiding beneath
Hard
was
to tell.
the Titanic? What in the
Hard to
world? That is, what?
She's the iceberg. More of the
I know,
iceberg is
that's what I'm saying.
underwater.
Yeah. It's hiding underneath. What in the
Exactly.
world?
exactly.
I'm not 5'11". I'm 5'9". I'm 5'10" on a good day with some Air Maxes on. Like, goodness gracious.
I am also 5'9".
Nice.
Nice.
Boggs,
Good
how
height.
tall are you?
5'9". Not tall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not tall.
5'9"ers. Let's go. Rename
Now we
the
just need
podcast.
John
5'9" without
also-
heels. Like, wow.
We also
Amazing.
need John to be 5'9".
I
think
think
he
John
is. I think
Barr
he's
is
5'9",
also
5'10".
5'9".
Yeah, I
I
think
have
so.
no reason to believe he's any taller than average height. There's like, I don't
I believe so.
maybe. Nope.
Sean,
No one
how
knows John
tall are
Barr's
you?
height.
In the background.
Sean
Yeah.
gives me like,
Sean's
maybe like
fine.
5'11" vibes.
We're all
maybe
5'9", guys. That's just how it is.
No,
Right.
5'7", 6'1",
He
6'2".
says 5'6".
5'6".
Sean is
Wow.
5'6". You said that on the internet? Oh boy. Well, it
Yeah,
was
you
in the
said
private
it.
chat, and then it was in the private chat, and then we
Yeah.
put it on the public internet. So I
Oh,
guess
dear.
that's our fault. Now that you're done, now that we're done with height talk, let's take it over to the quirkiest of factions that we have in this league. The Quirky Mercs.
So I think this is
Mr. Corey
Peggy's
John
team.
Drew.
Wink, wink.
I think this would be a great place for Peggy. I think Peggy would get along great with this squad. This squad, to me, oozes energy, oozes positivity, and that is exactly. Wait, how are you not gonna like this? They're gonna win Babyface of the Year every season until the end of time. It doesn't matter. They're always gonna win. Boggs, what are your thoughts on them picking Kevin Smith though for that last spot?
Yeah, so I think it really came down to her. Well, there's a few they could have picked. Obviously, Perry, they could have picked. obviously Kevin Smith.
Mara
And-
Kanopik?
Mara?
Yeah, Mara, and obviously the Real Rejects as well. Obviously Mara with a title shot. So I don't know. I think maybe
Real Rejects, you would have had to break up one though, right?
yeah, that'd be the risk. So yeah, I think maybe a couple of things there. I think potentially a bit of a power play type negotiation maybe from Mara, potentially trying to maybe join the dungeon, that kind of thing, and maybe they've got like some kind of pre-agreement. Who knows? Other than that, I mean, Kevin Smith obviously, big star, and he has obviously seemingly a good relationship with Koi, someone who can maybe adhere to his schedule, that kind of thing. So I think that was maybe a condition for Smith, maybe to have Koi as his manager, because it would be weird if he was in the draft and he, let's say, someone else signed. Let's say
He's literally the only person that he has had an interaction with besides like
Roxy,
SEN
maybe.
people in this entire world. Like because they did the comic book shopping, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the only thing.
It was
that they
live
did.
interaction too. It wasn't like
Right. It wasn't. Yeah, it was totally in person. This is pre-COVID. This is Remember, folks, we used to meet people in person.
And on top of
this
that,
is
exactly what Leo Logan's saying in the chat as well. He's 2-0. I think he's good. I think he is legit. Like, I want to see how far the guy can go. Like, I don't think it is a waste of a pick. The biggest star in the league. He's 2-0. He can play.
Ooh,
He
Chris
brings
Jericho,
how much
you hear that?
attention. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. So joint biggest then. Yeah. So, but no, I think it's a good signing. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, he's got. He did let a lot of decent players go, but you keep Kevin Smith, you've got the opportunity to.
I'm with you if you want to ride him on a singles run too, because like Bibbs would take some time to work up, right? Like Bibbs or the kid, they would definitely take time to warrant a singles push. And if you're Kevin Smith, I want a singles shot. I'm a match or two away, and yeah, you could say that some of these matches, his 2 matches, have been matches as compared to some of the other matches that we've seen. So I would really like to see, I'm not gonna say it. I want to see him play a real match. I want to see him play a singles match.
Against a top contender, yeah.
I want to
Or like
not
a
see
top
him play
10,
Brett
15
Sheridan or Chris Jericho
I do.
coming
Yeah,
into
I think that's
something.
fair.
Yeah, I want to see him play a real competitor. Maybe, you know what? I would love to see him play somebody like Marisol. I think that would be a great singles startup.
JTE, someone like that.
JTE, that would be fantastic.
And we
JTE
forget
would be
that Kevin
perfect. You
Smith
nailed
also-
it.
Yeah, Kevin Smith also called out DanMerle, wanting to play DanMerle. So not just the Outlaw, but Kevin Smith also called him out. So that would be something very interesting match to see. And just like we've seen any given Sunday, we've seen Andrew Guy beat Dan. Because imagine how crazy the Schmoedown community would go if Kevin Smith has a match with DanMerle, and then if Kevin Smith were to beat DanMerle.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exciting. That's what definitely the right thing to do there for me, for Koi to pick him, because he, like I said, he is big star, brings big excitement, and I want to see him in these matches because it will bring drama and things like that. So definitely
I
the
want
right
to see
pick.
him in IG.
I want to see him in teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Teams, IG, I would love. Oh, yeah. Teams. Oh, Soul. Who would you like to see him with in teams?
Jericho,
Yes, Jericho, definitely. No, so
That'd be
obviously we're not going to break up the Real Rejects, but I think Real Rejects need to go back onto the quirky merch.
Muse.
Oh, yes. Bring Jason Mewes on.
Wait, the Real Rejects versus Jay and Silent Bob would be
my
the.
gosh,
Oh my God! Oh!
I didn't even know that I wanted this,
Christian!
and now you've made me want this.
Christian, I'm giving you free ideas. You
Oh,
can have
Mark-
this idea.
Mark Bernardin. I want to see him
Ooh,
match
yes,
up with Mark
ASG
Bernardin.
coming in the chat. Kevin Smith versus Dan is Dan's first IG match. That is a banger. That is scheduling to a T. Boggs, are you paying the $5?
Yeah, that'd be good. In IG, any match, I'm telling you, IG singles match, I'd love that. If they were to team up against each other as well, again, good match. I want to see Kevin Smith tested. I want to see how good he really is. And yeah, I'd love that.
Teams player, we need to bring Mark Bernardin back to the Schmoedown. He's done a few matches before in the Schmoedown, and they're podcast partners with Fat Man Beyond. Kevin Smith, Mark Bernardin. Let's do it.
Mark Bernardin is Paul Oyama, and Kevin Smith is Lon Harris. I see it. I ship it. I approve it. On to what should be one of the last factions that we
Last one, I
have.
think.
Which one is this?
Well, we've called
Which
them
would
all,
it be?
except for, I believe, corruption.
Corruption.
The ones who kind of kept the status quo. Everything was kind of the same there. Nothing too out of the ordinary. You got KO. You got the Cobra. You got the Coyote. A lot of cuz, cuh sounds, in the English language. We got the
Marisol McKee.
Yeah, sure. But Lady Justice, I think, we talked about her earlier. We really got into that discussion, and I think that, Roka came in and said it was a bad trade. I really don't think it was a bad trade. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stand this trade. This is really good because Marisol is not. Were you going to tell me that, are Mike and Chance really not going to want to play singles anymore? Right? If you're Shannon and you have the opportunity to put a second person into a singles thing, if it's a singles tournament, it's gonna be Chance. Chance has earned that shot to be, in a singles tournament, to be in a singles opportunity before Marisol. Marisol is in the best opportunity at this team. I think it's a good trade for the Den. I think it's a terrible trade for corruption. I really do. That's going to be my stance that I take on it. I think that the opportunity that she's going to get, I think she would earn more points for the Den this season than she would corruption by a mile. Obviously, that should go without saying, just from opportunities, perspective. She would have had more opportunities in singles and teams with the Den than she would have been, because she arguably would have been the number one player, Soul.
And people were even talking in the chat, like a Paul Preston, Marisol McKee team, which I would like that team. I'd watch that team. You've seen both of their characters. They're kind of like on the tweener to the heel side. And so if you had Lady Justice, you had the Powder Keg together, I think that would have been a really funny matchup together. So I'm a little sad that we now can't have that this year, maybe in the future. But I agree with you that it was good for the Den because the Den has so many opportunities to rebuild. I will disagree with you. I think it's good for corruption. I think it's worse for Marisol McKee on corruption, but I think it's good for Shannon and corruption, especially if we're still going to see that Adam Collins, Marisol McKee team this coming year.
Right. So I guess where I say, and I'll defend my point very lightly in saying that if you're looking at Marisol, there's not much that Marisol offers that your other three players do not.
True.
Right.
I agree.
So if I'm looking to get something out of a pick that's different than what I already have, I would almost want Ace as, I know Ace has nothing, he's so far away from corruption, but if this is just, somewhere where somebody belongs in terms of team composition, I'm looking at a Star Wars player to come in there and really round out that roster. I guess they're thinking they might have Rookie of the Year on their hands again. A bit of a long shot here, Boggs. I'll throw it to you. I think Rookie of the Year might be whoever the Star Wars player is for corruption.
Could be whoever the Star Wars player is in general, but right. Well, I mean, it is quite. I think I kind of agree with both of you basically. ASG in the chat, ASG1982 hot take. No, that's not. That's a good take. I mean, that's not hard. Hot take. Yeah.
Ben Goddard and Alonso. That's a great team. It's totally the same way that it's when you line up like Paul. You're just comparing Paul and Alonso's knowledge at that point of like who's got a a bigger, a deeper breadth of knowledge.
Yeah. So what I'm
And
saying is,
Alonso Duralde is also an underrated player. Like, he's much better than what people give him credit
yeah.
for.
100%. Duralde, Cyborg, all them guys, they're like, yeah, they're on the like, they're like B level, like
God,
they're
like B pluses. No,
They're
not
Yeah.
even
they're
B's.
like-
Like
they're like
B
on the
plus.
verge.
A level
like
knowledge,
this.
but just
Yeah.
haven't got the win.
Yes,
It's
A
gameplay.
to A plus, A
Mm.
to A plus level knowledge, but then it's like a B minus to a C plus character, and then like that is kind of what it doesn't necessarily deter managers, but it does not attract managers.
exactly.
I
And it's
think
not
there's a
even
difference.
character. It's more gameplay for me
Yeah,
with these
I agree.
people. Is that they have the knowledge, they lack on the gameplay, and that's what's been detrimental to them. Their knowledge is what has brought them so far in their Schmoedown careers and has had them have the wins that they had. But you can't. We've learned now you can't do it on knowledge alone. You also have to have the gameplay, and that's what makes these rookies coming in so dangerous because they've been watching this game. They know this game backwards and forwards. They're gonna have that gameplay. Now we just got to see if they have the knowledge.
Yeah, so just finishing up on corruption, I think, yeah, it is a bit interesting. So, I mean, I think they've basically put all the eggs in one basket, meaning the same 4 players that have brought in the title this year. So, yeah, they just seem to pick and choose for whatever tournament between the 4 of them. And yes, obviously, they're going to do the 2 teams. But yeah, but obviously now they're not going to make a next pick to the end of the second round. So for me, that just further verifies that they are solely focused on these 4 players. And if Laura Kelly's still there, they'll draft her. But yes, they are putting a lot of eggs in that basket. But like what you're saying there, Colin, I mean, like they're all the same kind of player. So it is a bit.
They're so well rounded.
Yeah.
They're all so well
Really
rounded
similar, yeah.
that there's nothing that you can take away from one of them that's like I'm not getting this somewhere else, right?
That's why I would have liked to have seen them go elsewhere, maybe, just because everything is so similar.
The
But obviously
den's
they're
so
really
exciting
focused.
too.
Yeah, for Marisol as well. I think you're right. She would have been the A player in that team. She would have been, she would have been first pick in tournament.
She would have been
singles tournament, team
leading, and
tournament,
Paul
whatever,
would have
yeah.
been following behind and picking up behind her and just grateful to be in her presence.
But I think that the only thing there, I think for Marisol, is that the opportunity to win titles in corruption, particularly in teams for her. It's like her with Adam Collins is a different prospect than her and Paul Preston. Do you know what I mean? Or her and Ben Godden. That's a different.
100%.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So they're going to be one of the favorites to win a tournament as opposed to just entering with it with someone good. So so it's a bit of a weird dynamic there because now they're just sitting out for nearly 2 full rounds. So, but obviously they're very confident in their 4 to win them the title again.
I think that kind of solidifies them not picking Laura Kelly, because I do think, and this is not a knock on Laura Kelly in terms of like what she can offer a team, but boy, did I just blow a lot of smoke up the Dragon Con people's asses. And it's like, if I could get a Dragon Con player in the 3rd round and not have to not have to overdraft Laura Kelly, I'm doing that all day.
Yeah, that's
all day. I'm taking one of these unknown rookies who's unknown, to most people. I'm totally taking one of them over anyone who's competed, even Ace. And I hate to say that because that's somebody that that's somebody that we really love on this show. But like, if I'm talking as a GM, and I could sit out on a player if I'm corruption in the 2nd round, 3rd round, because if I believe they should come back around and have a top pick in the 4th round. They would have a higher pick in the 4th round if they have a lower pick in the 3rd round. So I would rather them swing around and grab whatever Star Wars player is left over, whoever's left, because I think it's a very underrated, like, just how deep it is. It's underrated.
That I think that will be my final point. Obviously, we can throw it to someone and start wrapping up the show. But yes, I completely understand no one keeping a Star Wars player because there's no point, because the amount of good Star Wars players there is, you've got 15 to pick from this year, and they're all the kind of same. They're almost all A players. So obviously we've already got A players now. Laura and DanMerle and Ace, and are probably a couple of B players, which still obviously they're excellent, like Sean Sullivan, like Adam Witt, or you got the plethora of other these new rookies. So there was no point because they're all kind of really high level. So I completely understand not draft. It was too risky to draft a Star Wars player. So did feel a bit sorry for Ace and Dimalonta, people like that, and Laura, of course. But I completely understand it. And yes, I think everyone. There's going to be some surprises there. I think they'll draft the kind of. I think a lot of so you'll get. Obviously, 4 teams will draft the kind of the A players in Star Wars, and then the next kind of Star Wars picks will be the rookies, and just to see which ones are going first and in which order and stuff. So I personally think Thomas will probably be the first Star Wars rookie, maybe, and then maybe Resistance people, maybe Marie. So I think Thomas will go early. I think he's going to go early. I think he'll go maybe
as well.
Potentially first round, second round, like that early. Like I think he's made that.
But Thomas is not fucking around. I'm not here to mince words. Like that guy is not playing. Boggs and I talked to him for an hour and 20 minutes yesterday, and I don't think either of us have ever felt more incompetent in our entire lives. Like that guy knew more about what we were talking about than like I said earlier, than either of us will ever forget. Like he's forgotten more than we'll ever know. That's the same.
I mean, he served in the army. He's a lawyer.
Yeah,
he knows the game.
A totally different mindset.
He's won Dragon Con. Yeah, he's got a lot under his belt.
He talked about the compartmentalize of his mind, where he could just because I asked him
that's why I asked Marie that question.
Yeah.
You said bringing that up. That's why I asked Marie that question. Like, how are you dealing with not having to use the full breadth of your knowledge and having to scale back your knowledge? Like, that's a real big thing for some of these competitors where it's like, yeah, sometimes you might know too much. So yesterday, Thomas mentioned on our show that he knew the answer to a question in Rogue One. And the question was, what rebel was the first to meet Jyn Erso? What rebel that makes the final descent onto Scarif was the first to meet Jyn Erso in the movie? And he answers, well, the answer is the guy who gets her out of jail in the first scene of the film. And he says that answer, but the answer that the person doing the mock trial answer had was K2SO. That was the answer. He's like, well, that's not the right answer. Like, that's the Dragon Con answer, but that might not be the Schmoedown answer. So there's.
Soldier said Saw Gerrera, and I think technically that's probably right. Thinking about it, but I think the question was something like after she's arrested, what is
after she's arrested, who is the first that she meets? It's like who? I think the question was specifically which rebel was on the ship to Scarif.
Yeah,
which rebel on that ship is the first one she meets, and he answers the rebel who gets her out of prison in the first scene of the film, and that's what he rolled on, and he rode that. He was like, well, what's the right answer? So there's a lot to say about these Dragon Con players.
The challenges are going to be interesting this year.
The challenges are going to be wild. It's going to be
Christian's going to be so upset this year.
Christian's going to realize he doesn't know shit about Star Wars, and it's the same thing that Boggs and I do. We keep bringing these people onto our Star Wars show. Even you, Soul, sometimes where we're like, we don't know anything. We're like, sometimes we think we know everything, and we realize, like Jon Snow, we know nothing. But we have learned a lot on today's episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. This has been, guys, let's just take a moment. Soul, I know you've just taken up residence here on this channel the last couple weeks. Boggs, this has been our home, bud. This is where this is where we met. This channel right here, the Ultimate Schmoedown Show YouTube channel. For the fine folks at home, for me, for John Barr, is there anything you want to say to this channel that we've kind of come together over these last 10 months? It's been
so weird journey. If you told me this time last year, we're going to be on 2 channels pretty much full time now. So the Pop Culture Universe, which has 11,000 subscribers, and now the Outlaw Nation John Roker's YouTube channel that has 15,000 subscribers, and that's it. They're the channels that we are working on. So yes, very weird and surreal, like it's happening and things like that. So yes, a privilege to be a part of, and we're going to try and stick to who we are as characters and people and things like that. So we're not, we're going to try and stick to our show type as well. But yes, absolutely very thankful for the opportunity by Roku and obviously the PCU network as well. But yes, very privilege and surreal. But this channel will stay open. Obviously, we mentioned it in the past. We're going to do a clip outs for this channel, so keep that up and open and stuff. But yes, everyone, if you haven't already subscribe to John Roker's YouTube channel, The Outlaw Nation, and also the Pop Culture Universe as well.
And I'd be remorseful if I didn't bring on our producer Sean for the last little bit here of this channel. Oh yes, he has to bring his mic down into position to be ready. But he is one of he's instrumental in bringing this show together, and this is it's not like a farewell. It's kind of like there are no seniors in this year's theater production, and we'll all be here next year going on to the next show. But Sean, come on in and tell us how, like, this whole thing coming together, man. You brought us all together, and now we're shepherding us over to a new ship.
Well, I played a part. So shout out to Mike Shea and John Roca also, who had this idea of creating a show. And John Barr obviously also as well, who's unfortunately not here. I was gonna mention him, but it's great to, we all love the Schmoedown. That's kind of how we all have. That's the connective tissue that binds all of us together. But it's nice to actually be moving on to the Outlaw Nation channel. We'll be going live, like John said, on Saturdays, so you guys can look forward to seeing us on Saturdays. We'll try to do the exact same format as we've done before. So nothing really is going to change. The only thing that's going to change is where the show is broadcast. But other than that, it's going to be the same old opinions, same old people on it. And I'm just happy to see that. If Boggs, I agree with you. If this time last year you would have been like, going to be on John Roca's channel, I would not have believed you. And if you said we were doing a Star Wars show, a Schmoedown show, would not have believed you. So a lot has changed in this last year. So I'm happy that we were able to bring Colin, Boggs, and John together, and I'm happy that we added Soul to the mix as well. So it's a great way of kind of putting a bow on the channel. Now that Soul is on, and now it's a great way to launch into our newest chapter on being on the Outlaw Nation Network.
Yeah, I think everybody plays off of each other so well here. I think that like Boggs is like definitely getting an invite to like a wedding party. Like, there's like a weird relationship where it's like,
they married a girl, Colin. Then yeah.
No, you know what I mean. Like there's like a brotherly relationship that's formed amongst us that like I'm ever so thankful for. Like you guys and the crazy thing is like you said, Sean, it's the Schmoedown that bound us all together. Like I've been watching the Schmoedown since I call it 1.5, where I've caught it halfway between season 1 and season 2. And now we're in season 8, and I'm sitting here talking on this like we know what's up. Soul, we don't know what's up, but we're just happy. Like I'm so happy that Soul's here. Like you are just so great. Like, you're such a welcome addition, because we needed somebody to come on here and not just check us, but know their shit as well. And it. And that's something that we were really looking for in terms of a fourth host on this show. And so thankful that we found, just you coming along, and everything you bring is just so great. And Sean, thank you, of course. Thank Mike Shea, our other not executive producers, extraordinary producers, the other EPs out there. And, of course, John Barr. Where would we be without John Barr and his Boggs? What's your favorite John Barr moment of the year?
I don't know. Probably the Don Harris stuff.
I think either that or calling in from the bus stop with Kaiser. Like that too. Both of those were just top notch. Like this man has come so far. If you told me that I was going to be hosting a show with the man that told the Los Angeles City Council to go F themselves and I host a show with that guy, I'd be call you crazy. But here we are, talking about Schmoedown, talking about the world. But look at us. This is it. Folks, this has been the last full edition of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show on this channel. Next week, you can find us at the same time in a different place on the Outlaw Nation. Welcome in its newest member of the family, the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. We will be there.
Wow.
Producer Sean.
And we have a very, very special guest coming on to break down, after the draft, the one, the only, you all love him, you all know him, Mr. Nerd Chronic himself.
Boom. Let him know what's up in the chat. Nerd Chronic coming in hot. Gonna be the first guest on the show, on the new channel. What else do you want? This man knows everything there is to know about the Schmoedown, but will he tell us? Probably not. Soul.
Or would he?
We'll see.
Not.
We'll try.
Soul, I will throw it over to you, my favorite ray of sunshine. Where can the fine folks of the internet find you?
You can find me at SoulGovan on Twitter, at soul.k.govan on Instagram. You can find me over in the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel on Pop Talk with these fine folks that you see around me right now. And then also a guest on We Have the High Ground every once in a while. Are you on mute again?
No, I was.
It's just mine.
I was miming because I'm never on Pop Talk anymore because I have to work.
And then just to add to what everyone said, if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be doing YouTube, I would have been like, you're crazy. And just the fact that joining the Outlaw Patreon, the Outlaw Nation Patreon, and then meeting Sean, and then Sean convincing me to come on with you guys, and like the fact that like, I have not met any of you in person. You guys are some of my best friends so far right now. And I love the three of you, and love to John Barr as well. So all my hearts to you guys.
I cannot wait to meet up at a pilot station on I-95 for a bad gas station hot dog on the East Coast, because that's the closest we have of meeting up right now, Saul. I would want nothing more. I would drive 6 hours just to meet you halfway, because I know how far it is from Miami. I'll meet you maybe like Cape Canaveral. I think Cape Canaveral.
Oh, that's closer to me too. I was gonna say Valdosta.
I don't think you think it is. I think it's closer to me than it is to you. I think it's probably 5 hours for the both of us, which is scary to most people that you have to travel 5 hours in one in the same state.
You have to travel 7 hours to get out of the state of Florida.
True. That's wild to me. That blows me away. That's absolutely crazy.
Well, me and Boggs are on the Boggs across the pond, and me and John
is across the pond like 7 hours.
Side,
if we drove 7 hours north, he would be like 100 miles in the ocean at the end of it. Boggs,
from UK, the southernmost point of UK to the tip of Scotland, like, what is that, 8 hours? That's how much you have to drive to get out of Florida.
I think it's like it's about 12. It's about 12 to 15.
Oh, it's 12. So it's
like
more.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It's definitely more.
That's good.
But yes, the like 7 would be like to probably the bottom to like the middle of Scotland, so nearly to the top anyway. But anyway, yes, definitely subscribe over to the Outlaw Nation YouTube
and
page.
like this video.
Yeah, we'll be live on the channel as well. Just to confirm, on Saturday we'll be live. Check us out on the Pop Culture Universe, like I said. So reactions, reviews, all that good stuff. We'll be reviewing WandaVision episode 3, probably reviewing the Godzilla and King Kong trailer. That'd be cool. So yes, check us out there. Check us out here. Well, no longer here, but yes, we'll keep this open for the clips. But obviously the John Roker's YouTube page will be live. So see you all next week. Thank you everyone in the chat as well. Leah Logan, Peggy, ASG, Matt, all you guys.
Hope you guys see you our boys, the crew.
See you guys next week.
Please find us in the same place, in a different place at the same time. Sean, I'll give you a chance, man. Where are you at? Where can the people find you? You're on the screen. I'm not just gonna let you.
I mean,
are you
it's
even
pretty
on
much.
Twitter?
I will be on Twitter soon. I think that's probably my goal at the end of this, to jump on Twitter. I've avoided it long enough.
You'll have
so at
3
some point,
followers by the end of the night. I guarantee it.
well, I mean that's cool, but it's more or less just to reach out to people. I'm not in it for followers. It's just a reaching out tool. That's basically what it's for. But yeah, like modding Video Juice channel, modding John Roca's channel, producing this show, Pop Culture Universe. There's just a lot of places, but yeah, I'm not that hard to find if you want to look.
And of course, you can find me every place you find these fine folks. Pop Talk. We have the high ground. The Ultimate Schmoedown Show on the Outlaw Nation now. And you can find me doing replay of College Charleston basketball every Saturday and Sunday on Flow Sports. But this has been an episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. The final episode of this channel. But like Bog said, bringing the clips here. I like that. Bringing the clips here, letting you know this is where the magic started. But it will be continuing on the Outlaw Nation. So this has been the final episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Show on this channel. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's ever been on this show. Thank you to everyone who's ever reached out to possibly be on this show. We'd be nothing without you guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Matt, Leo, Tachyon, everyone. ASG today in the chat. Peggy in the chat, coming on the show last week. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been the Ultimate Schmoedown Show. And we'll see you next week at a brand new home. Hey, Boggs, let's hit him one more with a bit of a...
Outlaw Nation, baby. We'll see you there.
Bye-bye.